Hello, everybody, and welcome to another day here at the PMCO 2021 Spring Split for the African region. My name is James Banks, and I'm here with you, as always, joined by the incredible Maxman to guide you and excite you through the amazing action that is here being shown on the PUBG mobile scene. And honestly, Max, we've got further along on this journey. It has been a crazy journey. We've seen some of these top teams that we started to have high hopes for, maybe not do as well as we expected yesterday, but we saw some other teams rise on up to the occasion and deliver in a fantastic way.
Talking about teams that risen up to the occasion yesterday was mainly focused around Undisputed African Esports. Like, they took 2 wins, the only team so far with double chicken dinners. On top of that, they also got a second position, almost getting 3 chicken dinners in one day. That alone is a huge achievement. So they stepped it up, but now they can relax. They got a day off. Now we're going to be looking into Group B and Group C and see what they can bring to the table, because we saw it on day one when I was actually casting with Blank, especially when they was doing some work with Team A. They got some real big team potential. So I'd love to see what Teams B and D can bring to the table today, as here is the schedule. Going to have, once again, the same one is going to be Erangel, Sanhok, Miramar, and also Erangel once again. But with Group B and Group D, and we are for sure going to have some great matches here, Blank. Sorry, there you go. Hey, Banks, Blank, you know, it's very similar. It was bound to happen. No!
All right. I'm leaving you. You're solo commentating.
No!
Max, that's it. I'm turning off the camera. The mic's being shut off. That's it. I'm done. You see the disrespect this man brings? What, we 2 minutes into the podcast, and straight away he's just calling me someone else. You know, I thought we were gonna have a nice chemistry being built up here, Max, and you just hurt me. You just stabbed me in the heart.
Man, why you guys have such a close name? It's not mine. And the thing is, going into this, I knew it was gonna happen one day. It's done. There you go. It's done. It had to happen, and hopefully it won't happen again.
You know what? I'm just going to make your name up as it goes. I'm just going to give you new names throughout the day. I'm just going to keep throwing.
You can call me Mad Max. Like everyone get it wrong.
But we'll continue to move on forward in this, because yes, these are the 4 matches we have, as we do every day. I actually wore a shirt to represent a bit of Sanhok in here as well. We've got to take a look at the point system, so you guys at home know how this is all working. So as you can see, we've got a point system that works out pretty damn well for the top 8 to 12 placement. Sorry, first to the 12th placement in there, at least getting 1 point, but it's really big as you grow on up. And the growth within the point system itself, right, is what you've really got to look at here. You always mention it, Max. If you can sit within the top 6 points plus the kills alongside it, that's where you can start to really make a dent. Because 7th, 8th, 12th, it's not so bad, right? But it's not ideal in terms of really grabbing it up there. But the kill points, they always come up huge. And INF yesterday, they proved it by not only managing to come second, but getting, what was it, 19 or 18 kill points in that game? That's how you 19, really make a massive jump up. See, 19, they nearly went for 20. They nearly went for the double 20. That was impressive.
Yeah, truly impressive. Normally, also a 20-point bomb is like a big experience. It happens very rarely. They almost did it twice on their own, which is mind-boggling to us. But also, we're talking about the point system and being able to remain consistent. Art of Killing Esports yesterday was really the team that came through. Currently, you're still 0 chicken dinners, and they got 105 point in second position. This team is absolutely insane. So it really goes to show that chicken dinners, at the end of the day, they don't matter that much. Also, because Art of Killing yesterday were able actually to double their kill points since their first day. So that's still also really strong from Art of Killing Esports, really shown up to the occasion. And Undisputed African Esports, we talked about them at the start of this segment. The fact is, 2 chicken dinners, they did in one day, almost 3 chicken dinners in one day, and able to catch up. They were initially in 21st position before yesterday, and after that, they closed off in 4th position. So that is a great launch forward, and hopefully they can remain in that position. But now that they're in 4th position, with the amount of games that are left to play, it's pretty much safe to assume that Undisputed African Esports will indeed make it into the finals of this PMCO.
I think that, like, anyone that's, say, 4th up right now, you're pretty much guaranteed, unless you see some craziness come out from these other teams to play some crash ups and the other teams just drop off the face of the earth. Then otherwise, you'd be pretty much looking at this standing at, say, the top 6 are looking really decent in this at the point. You just do need to keep up that consistency, because one thing I'm looking at, KHK down in 6th place at the moment, they did not grow much yesterday, Max. They were in such a good position. 1st place after their first group. We thought they were going to come in super hot. They were taking fights, they were taking space, but they weren't able to capitalize on it. They weren't able to actually get a big win in there, or even some high placements. That Drogon's game, though, at the very end that they picked up, that was huge. And big shout out to Bot Jeff, because he messaged us. He dropped a tweet and explained what went wrong. Because what people have to realize here, when we're commentating from online, what you see on YouTube is not exactly what we see on the broadcast. Sometimes it's harder to see all the little details in. And he was picking up some ammo from his teammate. So he jumped down in order to actually find himself some more space to stay away. He snaked into the prone position and still managed to pull it off. So big props to him. The Drogons are sat in a good place. We're going to look at the rest of the leaderboard as well and see where everyone's sat right now. And this is where it gets interesting, Max, because 10 teams in the bottom 16, are the ones that are playing today. And okay, that makes sense because obviously they are 4 games behind some of these. But for some of these other teams, it is a pretty much do or die moment that if you don't grab the points now, you're probably not going to be able to catch up.
So what that means mainly when you come down to it is that today we're going to have so many big shifts. You can expect the bottom side, the bottom 16 to be completely all over the place throughout today, and it'll start to get a little bit more equilibrium as we make it towards game 3 and game 4 today. Hopefully, at least that's what I'm expecting to see regardless. But we've still got so many opportunities for these teams to still make it on forward. They still got these teams an extra 8 games to play, so they'll have to get still some really good actions and potentially remain consistent throughout it all. But we're talking about also a few teams yesterday that did really good, teams that also potentially performed really badly, teams that I was expecting to do really good with Saint. Like, they shifted so many good things. We were pretty critical about them, Banks, and we were saying, you know, this team, they can rotate a little bit quicker. They have been improving already. They stopped hot dropping, and they also started going for way better rotations. But now, also, they still lack in things in terms of scouting. I think that's the one thing that's missing out for them so far. They're almost there, 37 points. They could make it over there, but they play currently 8 games. So you can expect a lot of these teams below them to overtake that spot. And at the end of today, they might end up in the bottom 20 or even worse than that. So Saint in a pretty scary position, but they still got 4 games to play. So we can expect them to potentially catch up if they have a good final day.
And this is where we talk about every single game matters in PUBG. It doesn't matter what goes on. You can have 1 or 2 bad games, right? But it's catch up from here on out. It's always possible to make a comeback in it. For Saint, we thought that was going to be possible. And I love the point you touched on, right, with the scouting, because one thing we saw them do when they were taking these engagements, they had what I like to call the wolf pack mentality. They stayed together as a unit. They took the fights, and it was great confidence. They were willing to take the fight, charge on forward with it. But the negative side, like you're saying, sometimes they weren't fully aware of everything going on around them. And yeah, they got punished for it. They got hurt in a bad way. But we'll have to wait and see how they can do when it comes to their playtime once again. And we have to see what's going to go down this first map because, we spoke about this so many times. Not only consistency, it's the word we do love. It's the word you'll hear us use all the time. Hands up to that. But it's the review side of things. What have you learned from the games you've played so far? The more you go further throughout the tournament, the more I see the top teams. The teams I would say are the more, it's unfair to say more professional, but the more experienced, right, are the ones that know that changing up the game and moving on forward in a different way is what is going to help you get the chicken dinner. It's going to help you get the extra points and push yourself further up the rankings.
And this is for a lot of these teams and players, potentially their very first esport experience. Like, they did still have a few tournaments in the African region that a few of these players and teams did qualify and play into. We did see a few teams do pretty good. But for a lot of these teams, it's still their first time and they're still learning. They're like, okay, how can I become the better version of our own team and potentially improve for the long term? And this is what they're trying to do. And of course, some teams are going to struggle. Some teams are, unfortunately, is how it is. It's esports is what happens. Teams will not make it into the later stages and won't even make it into the finals. But that is fine. You should see this as still a growing opportunity, which is why I should always say to these players is like, sure, you don't make it, but from this event, you gain a lot of experience that you can't gain anywhere else. Like Scrim, sure, they can teach you so much, but unfortunately for that, you can't really fully replicate what's going to happen in a tournament. So if you just come into this as a mentality, I want to learn as much as possible, you will be potentially able to make it really far in the future. Maybe not this season, but you've got many seasons still ahead for not only this year, but the years to come.
And you got to remember, right? The PMCO would not be happening for regions like this without the Renault 5G, and that is born to win. The coming Oppo Renault 5 series is the official designated smartphone of PUBG Mobile Middle East and African esports for 2021. It's equipped with excellent hardware and software for gaming, and this device should always be your lift to the upgraded fun and enjoyment on the battlefield. And as always, we're just about to start things off for this fun and enjoyment. Fun and enjoyment for us, fun and enjoyment for the viewers. Some of these teams definitely when they're getting the points they need. Others, it's a very stressful time. And that's one thing you also have to focus on is that we talk about this a lot. It's the mental strength because you can have a bad game, but it's all about resetting and standing strong and coming back into the next games and saying, no matter what happens, win or lose, we come back, we stick to the plan, we adapt where needed, but we have to be full focus. And again, I'm going to keep touching on this point as well. For us guys, we can sit and play some games. You just jump in the lobby, you lose the game, play again, re-queue. Yeah, no problem. What you have for some of these guys, these professional players, is you take a loss, you know what's on the line, you know this is a golden opportunity for you guys. You need to bring your absolute A game, but to stay focused on 4 games back to back like this is a lot. You start to get tired, you start to maybe lose a little bit of focus in terms of, oh, we're not playing the same way we're supposed to do. Then you get the worries to sink in. You need to stay strong. You need to stay confident. That's the real difference between some of the up-and-coming players and the true professionals out there. Now, every now and again, you get 1 or 2 players who are just incredible. They're like God's gifts to gaming. We've seen it across many different versions of games, and you go, wow, that guy is just naturally gifted. But do you know what is naturally gifted? This plane that's about to go across a wrangle, because this always gives us the gift of plenty of good players going across the map and plenty of good action coming your way, Max.
That was Linus Tech Tips level segue right there. That was top tier. We're going right into the game. Right into the game, of course, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be Group B and Group D going to be clashing up against each other and seeing who is going to be the king of the hill. The playing path are going to be going from the western coastline west of Gatka or towards the end of Stolba. Of course, Stolba, everyone's going to avoid it because nobody likes to drop in Stolba unless you are a team that maybe has some mental issues. But we'll see if that's going to be happening regardless. As Sanhok Island is going to be a little bit too far out of reach, so we did see a few teams try and go for that kind of drop location in Group A and Group C. I don't know if too many teams in these groups have seen the intention and maybe put as much time in VOD review as the other groups, so we'll see if some teams will see this as a great opportunity because not many teams like to drop there all around, at least in the African region. Team UNK dropped out pretty early on in that playing path, also going to make their way close to Pachinki, so not too much of an issue so far. As not seeing too many big hot drop potentials, not seeing some big fights that could happen. You've got a few teams potentially encountering themselves in the southern side of George Pole, but still not close enough to potentially have a few frags early on. But actually, as I say that, YNK are actually on top of another team right underneath them. So that's going to be up north of Hospital. Actually, no, in Hospital itself, I believe. So they are going to be taking some big fights early on, see exactly what's going to happen as we're waiting to see Phase 1 circle pop up. And you know what? It's not that bad of a circle. It's going to be pretty central, a little bit further down south, but here you go. Hospital fight's going to be happening. And indeed, it's going to be Yonku's having 1 member knocked away, but they find already their really first frag.
Oh, this is it. The early action that can be taken on. And Cage, sadly, is a man that doesn't survive very long in this game. That's technically the 30-second before you even hit the ground, you then go down. Brendo's been knocked down here as well, and he's going to be in a bit of a tricky situation. It's going to be hard for them to do some good damage onto him. We spoke about the nades in the first game last time around, but Rusty Boy was hoping him and his teammates would be able to get the advantage in that one. Jairbot going to take some damage onto the car. If he can make that explode, it could be huge, but it's just a little bit too fast for him to deal with. Now, one thing I did notice, Max, right, when we look up towards the top, remember Boat from last time when they had to go up against KHK? They were in a tricky spot where they couldn't go Saverni. This time, KHK's not in the lobby. They've taken Saverni for their own, so maybe that gives them a chance of having a better game in here. AE, though, you've left Rusty Boy behind. Okay, you've lost a member already. Are you going to go on the rescue plan here, or are you just leaving him to fend for himself? Because poor Rusty Boy, he may be good, but a 1v4 like this is very difficult. You're going to play a bit of running around the hospital and trying to keep them guessing and escape. Maybe if they let him take a fight 1 by 1, he may have a chance, but this is a tough one. And he's got no meds either yet.
Cool. I was going to say maybe they don't know, but now that he's been running, he definitely alerted the other side of Yonku. So hold on for fairly on APX. Yeah, they're pushing it. They're going for... Oh, no, he moves around and jumps out. He barely makes it away. That is so clutch.
That's a big play. That is a smart way to run away from them. He expects him to come out, but he's taken some extra damage. His teammates are close enough that they may have forced him out into the open so he can get some defense, but it's the run and gun. Jairbot gets it done with a Mac in hand and finishes him off afterwards. A good effort from YNK. They get themselves 2 kills early on, and they give us a bit of fun.
Man, that is the pinnacle of confidence on Jairbot. Just like, I'm just going to jump shot that one from like a 2-story building. That's fine. But seems like overall, that's going to be indeed 2 frags going away of Yonku. So they are off to a really good start in that one, especially an early fight in Hospital. It doesn't tend to happen that often. Hot drops on Hospital are pretty rare. Normally it tends to happen in Southern George Pole itself, not in that position, but overall now they picked up the entire loot. And Hospital is actually good enough because it's a really one big building. So if you want to loot up for an entire team and not really want to stay away from each other too heavily, Hospital is indeed a viable option. We're talking about, potentially sticking together. That is indeed what is also going to be happening for C Esports as they dropped in Yasnaya Polyana. I cannot see on the map currently if there's another team over to the east, but even if there is, I brought this up yesterday talking about Yasnaya. you can have 2 or 3 teams in Yasnaya Polyana without even having to break up a fight because it's such a big compound. You got big cross sections, especially that big road going from the east over to the west. You don't really have to get involved. And it is then apparently another team over here just going to be in the hands of Your Killer Is. So they're just going to be very respectful of each other. On to the east, the other team's going to be to the west. You don't have to take that fight once again. And you can just pick up the cars because the car spawns in Yasnaya Polyana are just so damn good. Just easily rotate from both opposite polar positions, and you never have to encounter each other. So overall, these two teams are playing it really well.
And the other thing I didn't even just came to my mind. We haven't seen them just yet, but Slime 4KT are in this lobby. Another team that we've been told to look out for. And remember their manager, Mamba, he's been helping us out from start to finish, giving us some extra notes on the African region and helping us work things out. And here they are, just as we're talking about them. Team 14 at the moment. Storm, the in-game leader, the superhero of the team. I just have flashbacks to his 1v4 attempt because he was solo trying to do it all, but he's also the scout for the team. And we spoke about this with other teams being something that can be missing. This is exactly what we need, right? Someone for them to be at least able to look further forward, see what's going on. Sometimes he waits for the rest of the team to pull up and he'll be able to maybe take the first engagement, distract the team, and you see the rest of the team fire on into it. So we're expecting these guys to be able to jump up the leaderboard today in some way if possible. Maybe they can get a good start here on a wrangle. We'll have to keep an eye on it.
Look, we're not going to lie, Banks. Storm for Slime does almost everything. He does scouting, he does IGLing, he does the fragging power, he survives to get to positioning points. He's doing fantastic. I would like to see the rest of the team maybe assist that a little bit more and just play around him a little bit more. That'll be great overall, but I still think that they are a really strong and talented team, so they can definitely bring along to the table. But we were seeing actually crates and George Paul. We're going to go to the other crates in Novo onto the island, and that's going to be Team UNK. That's where they played already, and I'm super happy to see this team again, especially because Nazarboy and Mohammed, I think they have great synergistical plays. Like, they play together extremely, extremely well. And I think that you put them in a fight where they plan together off of each other, I think that's where they play their best. And you can show that and represent that simply off the fact that they snatched a game away from KHK Esports on day 2 on Sanhok. And that was super well executed because they had the disadvantage of the terrain. They had to push through an open field. They only had like 2 rocks and a tree to play off of. And yet they were able to overcome the competition and take a win. So I think that here Team UNK, they showed a really good first showing. We only saw 4 games of them so far. And I think this is going to be a proving ground for them to prove that that was just not a one-time thing. They can do that on a regular basis. But now, Yonku's looking for the shots in the open. And unfortunately, they find a few players of Alpha Pack.
This is really good for Yonku, actually, because when you look at this, they found that 2 kills already. The other team managed to run away from them. But look at the setup now. They are able to pin these guys down. Okay, they're looking towards the smoke. Seems everyone's able to escape, but not all of their players are fighting from the same part. They do need to be careful that they don't get overwhelmed, though, because there's still other players on this team for them to fight around. And it's Jairbot. He's making a lot of noise, but he's going on the hunt. He's going to try and make this happen. If he's got a grenade, it could be huge, but he may not even need it. The spray down's coming in, and he's on top of it all. Brilliant stuff from him. And their teammates are not going to be able to get there in time. Jairbot's just running through the smoke. He's going to be in there to look for more players just in case. And this is where he's being cautious and smart. He goes, okay, it's clear. Thank you for the more kills. That's 4 kills already here for Yonku's. And this is a great early start for these guys.
Really good reading from Jairbot overall. Like, there was the smoke coming out in a really strong position, but he just saw, well, there's only one position where they could potentially be. I'm just going to spray it, and he found not only an extra knock, but also the second knock right after. So he was in a really good spot. But Team BBC, they're going to be now into the Milta position over to the east of the island of Erangel. They're going to be exchanging a few shots. They are pretty split away from each other, so it'll make it pretty hard. But here they are facing up against the boys of Fallen 5. And they are also pretty split away from each other. But Law is completely split away from the entirety of his team. So if he gets knocked away, you can count him as almost an instant casualty because it'll be so hard for BBC to get Law back up on his feet to pull off that res, as he's just going to be completely separated. So Fallen 5, they don't really have to take this fight really aggressively. All they have to do is potentially find a few knocks left, right, and center and get them an advantage through that kind of way. As Falcon, although he's also in a really similar position, if he gets knocked away by Law or another player of BBC, he's going to be also in a world of trouble. So I don't think these teams are both prepared for this fight. They just went into the compound completely unaware, and they just got involved in a fight they were not fully ready for. And you can see that purely based off their position, as now everyone's just on a standoff, waiting for potentially that opening frag or knockdown to come on through and maybe make a decision based off of that. But that is turning in a little bit of a messy fight in Milta.
Ooh, pretty much centered up slightly towards the south here. Okay, military base is mainly inside of it. We know how the next circle should go. It should go back up more towards the north afterwards. unless we get something really wild. You know, it can happen every once in a while. But overall, I think teams won't be too upset with this. Both have already started to make their way down from Severny. They're just crossing over from Rozhok. And actually, they won't have too many teams that close to them in this northern side. You're going to see a bit of contention more over towards the eastern side for the moment. But it's BBC versus F5. We spoke about it a little bit ago, and they're straight into the fight. When the cross started to happen, when it started to get opened up, it was BBC that have been able to strike. And you see Falcon in the distance, well, he's flying like a Falcon away from the action, away from the fight, and he's not going to be gunned down. But BBC are going to walk away with a clean early 2 kills. And this is a good start for them, but it's how they play it out from here, because they're just outside of Milta for now.
Oh, lordy lord. I was seeing the rotation from Fallen 5, and they just picked up the con like, we're just going to rotate right through Milta. Unfortunately, that's something that doesn't happen too often, at least not in a good way. You mostly want to try and wrap around the compound to make sure you're not going to get shut down, and you saw it. He died on a bike, going straight through the middle road in the middle of Milta, making it really easy for BBC. But there we go. I'm so happy. I mentioned this yesterday, and I saw no one play Pachinki Hill, and yet I think it is one of the best positions in the game, purely in terms of scouting, and here is getting used not only by one team, but by 2 teams, and one of those teams being Slime 4KT. They're on top of their Storm, going to go for the long-distance shots, trying to find a few suppressing shots with the DP28, but they got to contest that position away with team number 8, and that's going to be Pain AF, that I have yet to see this team really perform extremely well, so hopefully today is going to be their glorious day of success, where they can get a few good points, but overall, I'm happy to see some teams finally use this position. It wasn't a case for Group A and Group C, but Group B and Group D. They're making me happy. They're making me proud. Like, hell yeah, Pachinki Hill's finally being used by these teams.
Like you mentioned, right, it's a good ground to see what's going on around you. As we'll see from PN, they only have 3 players up here. So they also need to be cautious. When you're at a disadvantage like that, and you know you're potentially going up against the full squad, it is a scary moment. Yonkers seem to be doing more damage, though, as I look towards the kill feed. They found one of the boat players who was, when we did last see them, at least trying to work their way down south. Yonkers may need to be careful, though, because Yumi's up here. He spotted some of them out. Oh, that's it. That's wrong. That's your killing, isn't it? There we go. Your killer is there up there. That was the other team we went to. There you go. I thought that YNK and YK, well, you know, my eyesight, we talk about it. You said about your eyesight, Max. Maybe it's just mine.
I think we all need something at the end to help us out. But these 2 teams also move. Oh damn! Okay, I'm gonna get my eyes tested like next month, so I'll keep you guys updated on my situation there. But overall, these 2 teams, they both moved away from Yasnaya Polyana, and they both encountered each other. So it goes to show that rotationally speaking, these 2 teams have a very, very, very similar playstyle. But otherwise, this is going to be CE Sports in a pretty strong position. And because you're seeing it here, Your Killer is being actually pretty split away from each other. They got a 2-2 split. I think what they're doing is great. In a sense, they're sending teams and their teammates forward, get another position under control, and send the entire team to follow up. I think that is a really good call, because if you want to be stuck in a fight at this early stage, I don't potentially agree with it. I think that if you can avoid it, that would be great. But regardless, the circle is about to shift, and it goes back up to the northern side, away from the island, forcing Team UNK over the bridge. But luckily enough for them, no one is going to be gatekeeping that bridge, at least for now.
And that's what it's about. For now, there is a timing to get across it. It's when that time to strike is going to be.
Oh!
Fantasy trying to land some shots there. Needs to be careful. He gets taken down in the meantime. That's not what they want to see. Your Killer is with 1 player dead already, and now 1 player knocked down. See? They're looking to hold on to this as long as possible. And they know they've got the position. They don't have to move just yet. They're very close to the circle. It's not going to be an issue for them to walk on in, so they can keep Your Killer is really busy for now. This sneaky play from Techno, they might catch him by surprise. He takes a few shots, but he's getting gunned down from both sides. It's Yui that comes in to save his teammate, and that's the team play you want to be seeing in a match like this. See all over the place, and they've picked up another kill, which means Your Killer is completely outnumbered and outgunned in this one.
That was a phenomenal play from CE Sports at the end. The timing was a little bit off. If they timed it a little bit better in terms of communication, that could have been even better and avoided them potentially having one of their players get knocked away. But they just took 2 angles, pushed around it, making sure they can't cover these 2 angles at the same time, as he was a one-man army, and then overcome him easily in a 1v2. So I think that at the end, the execution was really strong. So that's exactly what you should be seeing at a PMCO level. That is the bare minimum. So happy to see these teams popping off. But Existence, this was a team we were a little bit critical about here, Banks. We were saying this team, we want to see them take opportunities a little bit more, a little bit like New Team, which have been able to improve in that point. But I think the Existence also needs something in a similar fashion for them to be able to perform a little bit better. But they're going to be contested by Gun. And Gun, on day one, they were third position without a chicken dinner, similar to what happened for Temper. So they are off to a great standard. If they just purely duplicate what they did on day one, they'll be looking at making it into top 3 easily. So at the end of the day, we're looking for them to have, once again, a really consistent, regular basis kind of results every single game. And if they can do that, they should be in the exact same position as to where they were on day one. But here, teams have been able to learn and improve over time. As actually one of the players of the side of Gun going to get knocked away from a distance, but the res has easily come on through. But now we still have 15 teams alive, and one squad got wiped away. So things are still going to get pretty dicey as we're slowly going to make our way into stage 4. But here, Magicians holding on to the Lighthouse. They're all in the same position. Lighthouse as a 4-man team is not great to hold on to. You want to have a 2-2 split usually, but they're still going to hold on to it as a full squad, which, you know what? If it works, I'm not going to complain, but you don't get the most effect from a 4-man on that position.
Ooh, that's a nice crate to get. Oh,
can you even get there?
No.
I think you can jump. You can jump and get it by like jumping around normally, but I don't think they got it, unfortunately. Yeah, that's an F.
Oh no. The worst style of crate. I was like, oh, that's beautiful.
The circle.
Wow. I said what did I say? It could get crazy. And we've now ended up with what that's probably like 60% water. Would you agree?
Man, we never have these weird circles on such a regular basis, and then Banks just comes into PMCO. I'm going to mess it all up. And now we have the wildest circles overall. I mean, you know what? Hey, it makes for entertaining content. I'm not going to complain, but teams are surely going to complain into this because you don't have many positions to hold on to. This is going to be real tricky.
There is not enough landmass to currently fit 15 teams, which means if you're one of the ones that are late to the party and getting here, you are going to struggle to fight for some control here. Now, maybe you try and gatekeep a bit on the edge, but how long do you want to do that? For right now, I believe just looking at the map, that is UNK that are sat on the bridge. That could be really beneficial for those guys because they can just sit there for quite a while. Yes, they'll be on the edge of it, but if they can deal with everyone from the sides, there may be an opportunity. You spoke about the Magicians. Their position here could actually be something they can really fight from at a lot of long distance, but they need to hit some key shots.
I was saying that I would like to see them split away, but because of how the circle went, actually, just stay there. You know what? I take it back. This is actually great, purely based off where the circle went. So, you know what? Big heads up to them. Really lucky on that one. But now, we brought this up a few times. Being gifted a circle is a really good thing, but also being able to use it is a big also part of the work. So hopefully they're not going to get too overzealous and confident because they have the better position in the circle. Hopefully they're still going to be rather respectful of teams around them. Their main focus here is going to be, though, Team UNK. They had to move over the bridge, but Team UNK still up as a full squad. They got one player already forward, can potentially find a few shots from a distance. Talking about a few shots off the distance, I see one player of Gun has got the Orm. And in the circle, it will still be pretty impactful because, especially against Team UNK, like, if you hit those shots from a range, Team UNK are going to be really, really in a world of trouble to make it over to the mainland.
Yeah, hitting a few of those shots is going to be nasty for any team that want to try and cross. And we are down to 14 teams now. We said when we get into phase 4, things would start to get a bit more dicey here. They would start to struggle and really have to fight for a lot of control here. And this is already happening, right? Smoke's being deployed. Cover need to be found. Just trying to fight your way up the hill. And see, they had a good start to this. They ended up getting 3 team kills so far already. Can they push this advantage a little bit further? Because they know there's going to be plenty of teams around them. And this is good. You see what Kira's doing. He's having a look behind every now and again. He's keeping his eyes open because he knows nothing is safe right now. There is no easy spot for them to take some control over. And this circle really has messed up a lot of teams' plans and how they want to play this out. You can't predict something like this. We certainly didn't. I just seem to bring the crazy circles. Sorry to all the African esports regions because day one was pretty normal, wasn't it, in your eyes, Max? And then it came to me and I brought all the chaos. I think it started with a military-based game.
I know. I was always called the curse caster, so at least I can just go away with the title and give it over to you. I'm fine with that. I think that's the best trade in human history overall, so I'm cool with this position. But we got 2 teams here in a really tricky position. That's the Razor Crew and CE Sports. They are slowly going to make it to the meat and potatoes of this game because they are going to have a big decision-making to make because they've got to make it downhill. And unfortunately, in those kind of positions, not many teams can actually make it out. So I think that they are going to have a standoff. And only one team will potentially move away. But all the water is taken out of the equation here, Banks. and it goes straight back to the mainland. We had the almost exact same circle, by the way, yesterday on game 1. It was won by Undisputed Esports, so if they did watch the VODs yesterday, they could know how the circle was going to unfold. But here you have it. That's going to be already off the bat. C-Sports taking some big shots.
The big fight has to come in now because they've got to get this fight for control. See, they need to be careful in this. A lot of players are already slightly lower, and they also need to be careful because Storm is just behind them, also looking at it as the nades again are coming on through. Era making it work, making it rain, and they may be able to grab their teammate back up now. This is a beautiful position for them to sit in. But while we look on the other side, I said what we had to be careful of was Storm and the Slime Boys being on down there. They were taking some shots at C, but they're also having some shots taken back at them. I'm seeing Gun Vile just pop off. That's 2 players from 2 different teams that he's been able to put on the ground already here. It is all hell breaking loose right now, and this is the fight for control. This is where these teams know it's time to move. It's time to make some magic happen. But that magic is going to be oh so difficult to make happen. Even the Magicians are going to struggle because they've got to move so far away from Lighthouse.
Oh, great shot coming out from Impulse. He's going to do some real good work. Ghost also, but unfortunately taking some too big shot. And actually from the compound down south, he's going to be taken down. And they have to move out. Race Recruiter there. Another player's out of the equation. Down to 2. And Rise like, how do I drive this thing? I've got to make it through. But there's too many teams in this position. And it's just a matter of time, I believe, until he gets taken down. Unless he can maybe barely survive. But they know where he is. He's going to get contested right into the hands of Gun. And that is going to be the end of Reese, I do believe.
Oh no, he's still staying alive for a few moments, but this is tricky. He's clenching himself right now. Close up the car for a bit of safety in there. Plaza's just gonna, yep, oh, okay, you're already gone. No problem at all. Easy clap for them to find. He's like, I want to just check, make sure he is going down. It happens anyway. And look, the teams are dwindling. The players are dying slowly but surely. Magicians have tried to move on out, but I think they've been completely finished off here. Yeah, there you go. Vortex is the last one to go down. It's not going to be ideal for them. We're down to 10 teams. The madness is happening everywhere across the map. And if you've got yourself on top of one of the houses right now, you're getting a good overview, but you've also got to be careful your head doesn't get popped off. You mentioned it, right? The snipers are out in full force, and they're looking. They're hungry to take the fight wherever possible here. NASA Boy doing his best to fight it out there, but he's going to be downed oh so quickly. His teammates are going to try and back him up a little bit. Smokes are going to be deployed because there's little ground for these guys to hide behind. But now you're going to be forced out. You need to move on forward from the blue. Mohammed hoping he can get the revive off.
You can't res.
No, you got not enough time. Oh, and oh, that's so unlucky. Beast gets the perfect nade in. And they'll easily finish him off. There you go. No problem at all. He gets the additional kills he needs. He has the smoke for cover as well. Okay, it's just him left alive, but 5 kills for the team already, and you're in a top 10 position for now. If you can just hold on a little bit longer as a sneaky solo player, there may be a chance to grab enough points for this to be a respectable start here in the day.
This is great for Beast. Like, if he's able to just pick up those cars, put him in actually a really good makeshift position, like a makeshift compound, and just put them in the south, he's almost there, just a few meters away, I believe, like maybe 5-10 meters. He could create a compound and get completely uncontested because no one is coming from either the west or the south. He could have full control and ownership of this entire circle by purely creating a makeshift car fort. So that would be big if he's able to play that up. But now where the meat and potatoes is going to be once more is going to be over to the east. That's where all the teams are trying their best to move out. But Gun, they already got the cars ready to go to send it into the circle. But they know they can't go too early because they have no buildings to hold on to inside the circle. They need to eliminate as many teams as possible before going for that push.
And this push is certainly not going to be easy. Slim, nicely put up on top of the building, able to spray him on down, and he's going to straight away finish him off as well. He's looking for any players that are going to try and work their way in before he makes his push on. He wants to pick up as many kills as possible because they've still got 4 players alive, and that's huge. 6 kills, 7 kills now as Nerf Me's found one, and they're going to continue to pick up more players. Nerf Me, he's putting in that work. More kills going their way, and Gun, they're set up to be in a really good position for this one. Okay, they still have to push into the circle, but Reckless has just been heard below Slim, so he'll be well aware of that. And if he can win this duel, they can keep 4 alive and comfortably work their way in. He's jumped on down. Oh. He wants to try and take it. He's grabbed himself the car, and he's getting himself to safety. Reckless has been left. He's trying to fire onto him, but Reckless needs to be careful as well, and he gets gunned down. Plaza, he's providing the cover fire. This is such a smart play from Gun. They are doing it, and they are doing it well.
Sure, that was a smart play, but that was a ballsy play also. That was really risky, but you know what? They run away with it, and that is all you can see in this game. But now South, still the Beast, he hasn't done the car move, I believe, to make well, actually has he? I can't see from that angle, but if he has, this would be great. He's going to get uncontested. No one will be able to kill him unless maybe Gun come in with some hot grenades from there. Oh, he has! There you go. That's what I wanted to see. He's got the kind of perfect position. Though I do say I would personally have exploded it and popped the wheels already, but he hasn't done that. Maybe a little bit slow, but Gun, they're going to make their way forward, and they're still up as a 4-man team with 12 kills. They are dominating in this game, and they still got 3 more to go after this one. They're in the south. They're uncontested. They're seeing all the teams up north in the fields. They are survivalists, and this hopefully should be a game for them, unless maybe a lucky off angle from the side of the Beast could deny them completely. But the circle goes on the other side of the road, and this could be potentially huge for Yonkers.
So they all have to push in. But Yonkers could try and capitalize on this, considering they're not just one player. They've got 2 players here to deal with for the moment.
Yes.
But, well, they eventually nade him on down. You throw enough, it's certainly going to work at some point. There's a crate not far away in front of them, but it's a big risk trying to go for that now. I wouldn't want to be doing that anytime soon. Plaza's already taken a forward position. Is he behind the Beast now? Has he gone over towards the side? They need to check it. Imagine if they don't check the Beast.
Oh,
this would be wild.
He's only got 10 seconds. The Beast only has 10 seconds. Yeah, he's going to move on forward eventually, but they are showing their backs. And actually, no, they're going to scout the position of the Beast. Check out the cars. Maybe they can use that car for themselves, but he does get instantly obliterated. That's going to be a 3rd position for Pain. Still big shown from them, from the Beast, but now it's down to 2 teams. The Yonkers and also down to the side of Gun, as they're going to go for the full-on send it up north.
And for Gun, this is the win you want to be able to grab in a position like this. Oh, nice position from Lewis, though. He isn't seen. He goes straight in for the finish off. He'll take any extra kill points he can grab. Nerfme's going to hide behind the crate and potentially be able to loot it at the same time. Lewis knows that this could be going on, but Plaza's providing good cover fire. Lewis gets knocked, and they've only got 1 more player to find. Jairbot gets a nade out towards him. A nade is being fired back out. They're playing a little bit of catch, but no one is going down from the grenades just yet. And I love this from Plaza. He's just running around in the buggy. He's comfortable, and he runs him over. The match has ended, and Gun were large and in charge from start to finish. And look at the number of kills they get alongside that win.
Nerfme, he was popping snipe shots, DMR shots from a distance the entire game. He's going to be today's darkness for us. He was doing as good as him yesterday on those Car 98 shots overall. But Gun, just the way they closed that game, by the way, it was so well executed. That is how teams in the PMGC would finish off that game. You know you got the man advantage. You know it's a 4v2. What do you do in that kind of situation? Especially when you know the only type of coverage for the enemy team is or snaking in a bush or covering or hiding behind trees. The way to overtake that and actually deny them a kind of good coverage is to get as spread as possible. Sure, they did lose 1 player because of that spread, but at the end, they still got information. And the moment they knew 1 player was in a bad position, or they could instantly get an angle on him because he was prone in the grass, or otherwise, because he was behind a tree doesn't give you 360-degree protection. It's not a compound, it's not a house or anything. Here, they could just say, okay, he's in that position, I can't shoot him, because they had an off angle covered on the other side. They can easily find a proper angle to take the shots, get the knock or kill confirmed potentially, and take the win. Gun, that was potentially one of the cleanest, and I really mean it, cleanest endings we've seen so far in this PMCO for the African region, because it's typical, it's by the book, but it's a reason for that. It's because it really, really does work.
Yeah, it was just playing the smart game, right? It was playing the numbers when it comes to it. We'll take a look at the rankings after this one, and look at this. We see it all the way at the top right now. Okay, Influence Rage Africa, they've sat in that position. We knew no one was going to overtake them, but look how quickly Gun have moved on up. They're now up in 7th place. They're catching up just 2 points behind KHK, who've already played their 4 games. So Gun, as long as they can keep this kind of performance up, and it doesn't have to be wins, it can just be that amount of kills, they're going to be sitting pretty. Let's look at, in terms of this, they're probably the closest that could actually overtake Influence Rage Africa here.
They could. They were 3rd position, and they want to make it back in 3rd position just like in day 1. So a really good trend from the Gamers Unite Nation team, and hopefully many more games to come for them. Though in the other side, Yonkers also, we got to mention this, Banks. They were fighting at literally 30 seconds into the game, and yet they were able to come out on top with still 2 players up alive in a plateau area in an open field, which is normally really hard to hold on to, especially when you do not have the man advantage to back it up. And yet, they come out on top. Now they finally make in top 16 position. I believe this might actually be their first time in top 16. Don't quote me on that, but I think that is the case. And now they're top 16. They're looking safe, but they still, with an extra 3 games to go, they could look at overtaking a lot of these teams and make it in the top 8 position just to be somewhat safe to go into the finals.
and UNK, not in a bad spot either, the same as Slime 4K. Remember, we've also got to keep pointing this out, that some of these teams have not played as many games as the others, which is why it looks so top heavy in terms of the other teams that are already there. But we'll start to see as we move on to the second half of the ranking of where the rest of them go. CE Sport, we did cover them quite a little bit. They've managed to move their way on up. They did pretty good in terms of killing points with that for sure. Your killer is, okay, it's not ideal for them. They did kind of get attacked down by CE Sports very early on. BBC not in a bad spot for it overall. But I got to say, our boys in Bope, I had high hopes for them, but I think it was when they were trying to rotate. They just got past Rozok. They were trying to go further south. And as that circle went out more towards the water, it was like, yeah, this fight's going to be a lot harder. And they actually got finished off by Gun during that game. So you went out to the eventual winners. I guess it's a positive you can take in it.
There could be a positive in this, but I just want to go back to what you mentioned earlier, Banks, actually. You mentioned the fact that, 10 teams in this bottom 16 initially before that first game were in the bottom 16 position, and they were also teams only played 4 games. So you could expect a lot of changes to happen in this position. And one of the big changes, well, unfortunately for one team, that's going to be Greedy 4 Kills. Despite the fact that, sure, they got himself 1 chicken dinner, they were initially, before this game, they were in 22nd position with 24 points total, and now they dropped in 26th position. And that's just off of 1 game. Imagine after 3 games, where they're going to be at the end. This is looking real dire and scary for Greedy 4 Kills, and they must be also looking at this stream potentially and getting really stressed out. So hopefully they can come back in the good games when they're going to be playing for the 2 last days of the group stage. But regardless, some big step ups from a lot of the teams. I'd still like to see more coming out from Existence. I think they did get overtaken by Gun a little bit too easily in that compound fight in the late game circle. So I do think they can bring a little bit more to the table. But overall, that was a sick game 1 with once again some weird circles. But I think that by now weird circles are somewhat the new norm.
Yeah, the new norm is weird circles, and it's a new thing that these teams have to deal with. It's certainly what these teams have to get used to. And actually, when it comes to it, right, the thing I look at with the weird circles, it's just a true test of teams, because you can be comfortable, you can have circles you've seen many times before, and you can say, we do it this way. We got our kind of A, B, C, and D plan for this. When you get a wild circle and you've got to adapt like that, that shows the real good shot callers, the good in-game leaders that can find the way in to find some success. And one thing about Gun, they posted themselves up on that building for a long time, right? Sat at the very top of it. Then they decided to move as the circle was kept out. But they sat in a position where they were still willing to take fights. They didn't turtle up. They didn't sit there and say, we're just going to allow other teams to walk all over us and come to us. They actually were proactive and wanted to do some more damage, which is why they weren't able to just get the win, but get the big amount of kills to give them such a crazy good ending towards that game. And we got Sanhok coming up next. Oh, yes. I'm even dressed to impress for it. I'm repping Sanhok in every way possible.
Oh, I think I might actually change shirt real wide. I'm wearing a t-shirt right now. I think I got a Sanhok like themed shirt over there, so we'll be good. We're talking about Gun right now because they're under the limelight. They're feeling really good after that win, of course. I just want to mention also they were a team that initially dropped to the west of Ferry Pair. So they had some still pretty big rotations to make happen. And they were like, okay, we got this position. They scouted, by the way, really efficiently from the plateau area up north of the Western Bridge. They're like, okay, we know that position is free. Just going to drive into it really early on because it was center circle. And you know that it's going to potentially keep on rotating in that position for 2-3 circles minimum. So they're like, you know what? We're just going to do some good shot calling. And good shot calling is indeed what they did. So Gun fully deserved that win because they did not have a given circle. And yet they were able to turn the tides in their favor. So that deserves a lot of respect coming out from me regardless. And hopefully that's the first good game from them of many because they were still 3rd position without a chicken dinner on day 1. And here they get chicken dinner. This shows that not only can they be a consistent team, they can be one of those teams that can indeed close off games and take the win when required.
Well, Erangel had us excited, and it certainly was a good start to our opening games of today. But we're going to be coming back after a break with more wise words, with more analysis of what's going to be happening on Sanhok. So go and get yourself some snacks and a drink, and make sure you're back with us in just a few moments.
So I'd like to see a little bit of a trial of fire for Slime 4KT and see what they can potentially bring to the table. And also Team UNK. Let's not forget that they took a win up against KHK Esport in one tricky position, and they are back on the battlefield for this one, back in the jungle once again to potentially try and take the game. So Team UNK also going to be one of these teams that I'm looking out for and hopefully can take some big games. But regardless, I think that it is time for us to make our way into our second game of the day. Into the jungle we are going to be going, and it's going to be Sanhok on the menu once again, with a playing path that's going to be pretty far over to the west. But regardless, it is a 4x4 map. So as I always like to say, nobody cares about the playing path on Sanhok. You can get anywhere you want without too much of an issue.
And one thing I know is when I'm in Sanhok, they won't see me because of my shirt, but they'll see you because you're in white. And you'll be easily spotted from halfway across the map.
It's just like it was Jason. I swear, you guys bully me. It's insane. Yeah, and you know Jason would do that. Yeah. Oh my god, the old school casters bullying the new guys. There you go. That's how it is.
Trial by fire. That's what you've got to have. Yeah.
No. But regardless, we're going to see bootcamp. What's going to be happening? Yesterday, we had some wild bootcamp action, and seems like, hey, this time we're going to have Slime 4KT plus another sneaky team right underneath them. So you know what? No one can complain, especially as casters. We can't complain for some early bootcamp action. That is what we love to see when we get some Sanhok games underway.
And this is it, right? You get so close to each other. You mentioned, right, 4x4 in terms of what the map offers and what we see on it. And in terms of this circle, again, it doesn't really matter to these guys. You may go slightly further over towards the right. You might go to Docks. You might go over towards Camp Bravo. But for now, yep, we're going to keep going. So Max, we've lost him again. He's dropped out for the moment, but we'll bring him back in as soon as possible. So you've just got my voice to take you through it all again. And Max touched on this just slightly, that we already are going to have 4KT up against PN for the moment. Very close to each other. Whether they take the fights early on is another thing. But Storm, for now, he's going to be looking. He needs to be careful. He's getting closer towards his teammates in it. Bugger's having a good scout around and just hearing what could be going on around them. But it's this early battle where you have to try and win this by keeping everyone alive. And with Fugger being slightly separated from everyone, he needs to find the perfect moment to try and escape. It's certainly not easy with it, but we'll have to see if they'll be able to find him that route that he desperately needs to find. For now, the rest of Slime have kept themselves together. They're putting themselves into a pretty nice spot. But it's Fugger. He's aware, but he's not making any noise. And this is what's crucial. As he doesn't make the rest of the noise, his teammates can play around it. Storm, still running back around. He's joining up with the rest of them. And they're going to try and find a position at least where they can get some cover ground and also an advantage position to look up on towards them. Smoke's going to go out to make sure they do have that cover they need. Fugger, oh, he expects it. The shots come out and instantly he finds it. But is he going to go straight in for the finish off? Doesn't just yet. Expects another player to be close. He hits him quite hard. Brilliant stuff from Fugger. He takes two of them down all on his own. Doesn't need to finish them off just yet. A Slime 4KT, they're showing us what they can do. A couple of their teammates have been dropped, but Fex, he's going to be able to get the revive off. But this is looking really good for them. They might have done enough now to hold it off. They could potentially be looking at getting a squad wipe in here. And Fugger is just picking up all the pieces, all the kills they need. Some early action here straight away on Sanhok, and we see the kills start to go off in their fashion. Now we're down to 16 teams, but as you can see, PN is already here. I'm hearing Max's voice again, and PN, they're getting revives off. So Slime didn't fully commit to it. Fugger wanted to be slightly more careful, but they're going to get themselves the extra loot. Oh, the nade's going to go up as well. If Fex can land this just when they're trying to get the revives going, it could cause them a world of hurt. The nade comes out. They try to run away. A bit of damage may have been able to do. But this was something special. The fact that both teams were able to keep themselves in a fair enough good position. The Beast was the only one going down. But what a great start from these two teams in trying to play it smart. But you can see the confidence from Slime. It's oozing out of them.
Really good stuff. I was seeing the entire thing. I don't know what happened, but that's fine. I was able to catch every moment of that fight, and Thurgo was doing such good work, especially with that early DBS fight. But now they're going for the full-on push. They want to find the extra knockdowns and clear out bootcamp for their own gain. And pain, they are indeed in a world of pain currently, trying to move away, but they're low HP. They can't res up, and I don't even think they have the resources to take this, as Aimer actually goes down to the hands of El Chapo. This guy is insane, by the way.
And this is what they need to be careful of. Overextension. They may have the numbers, but sometimes they can win out the duels. And Slime, they've got to make the tricky decision in this one. Like you mentioned, Aim already being knocked down, but Storm found Kingham in for the meantime. El Chapo wanted to do as much work as possible, but he's been tagged up quite a lot. He's going to try and escape out of this. His teammate Anad comes back into the farm. Comes back into the field, comes back into the fight. But is it going to be enough? They're starting to fight it out. Hanad's going to go straight in for the execution. Is it even possible? Yes, he takes down Storm. So that means they do lose their in-game leader early on. But they did pick up a full squad wipe. And we're already down to just 14 teams.
But you know what? At least they lose only the IGL in a way that the IGL, when you lose him, he can take a more of a backseat position and do backseat gaming, just tell the team what to do and be the overlooker of the squad. So the IGL, some people even tend to say that when the IGL dies, that's when he actually can do his job best because he's not focused on his gameplay anymore, can just dictate the team. So that's something to also keep in mind. But he was also being the one that did most of the fragging power, especially in that Miramar game just 2 days ago. So at the end of the day, it was still a really good shot. I do like the way that initially they took that fight. The reason why is because they saw that Pain was split away from each other. They had one player down south and they were up there, the 3-man team. It was a 4v3 initially. And they took that 2 knockdowns, turned one into a flush, and they had a man advantage. So they played that, I still believe, really, really well. They did tend to get a little bit split away from each other, which did cause the demise for Storm. But at the end, the most important thing is to come out on top. Now they got the entire bootcamp loot for themselves, which hopefully is going to get them to a good bunch of tier 3 armor in terms of helmet and also the vest. So they should be in a really good spot. But overall, that's some good stuff. But we didn't have time to really talk too much about the circle here, Banks. And I want to talk the phase 1 circle. It came over to the western side, and I brought this up yesterday, and I'm going to bring it down up here once again, the trifecta position, because every single island is currently in play. You have no idea where it's going to end up. So whichever team goes there first, I think it would be great for Yonkus. If they go up there away from Painan into the trifecta of the river, hold on to it, they will have the best rotational position overall, depending on wherever the circle ends up going. So I would like to see some teams put that a big focus onto that one, hopefully. I was talking about them, actually. We're going to have ourselves a little bit of a fight happening. Yonkus take some shots and great connection actually happening for them as Vile is going to go down. The great sniper, by the way, of game 1 on Erangel. He's going to be down for the count, but a res could still come on through.
Ooh, a nice battle back here from Gun. They're looking to continue their domination. As long as they can get Vile back up, they sit in a nice spot. Slim has some good awareness around him. And Gun, they're willing to take this fight, despite there being a high ground advantage. The not coming in has enabled them to be able to pick up their teammate. And YNK, they may be looking down there to see if they can get something, but that tree position makes it very hard for Julmink to be able to actually see directly where the Gun are sat for now. So they're in a position at least where they can be comfortably playing around little areas to give themselves a bit of defense in this one.
When both teams like this, in a situation like this, when one has got a compound, one has got a high ground, this should never result in the big on fight happening. Reason why, we're in third-person mode. So Yonkus can just peek over the wall without too much of an issue, and during that time, Gun can just peek out of the window with that third-person perspective. So if these teams play as they should, which is trying to avoid this fight as much as possible, they should just be like, okay, we've got the intel, we're just going to make sure they're not going to peek too much, and we're not going to move, especially because they are currently in circle. But that is going to be stopping potentially the plans of Yonkus, because especially Gun, they dropped towards Quarry initially. And they made their way through really fast on their rotation, just like what they did on game 1 that allowed them to take the win, by the way. So Gun is like, we found a working formula. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. We're going to keep on going that way. But unfortunately for them this time, they did encounter a team along the way, and they do not have that high ground advantage. So they got to be very careful. But Slim really wants to find those shots. At least peeking out on the side, despite having that third-person perspective I was mentioning. So he is taking a little bit of a risk. But Yonkus, while also they got Jerbot on the side, making sure he can just keep the intel for his team and prepare for future endeavors, future rotations are to come. So I think that overall Yonkus are pretty well prepared for a fight and also for their rotations, which is what I was expecting from this team. I would love to see them take a win. Hopefully, maybe not today, maybe not in this game, but hopefully throughout the entire event. I think that they are a team that has some true potential when it comes down to it. So I just want to see them close off a game, hopefully. But also other teams, the East was actually pretty focused down off teams. So you could expect a lot of teams making their way through the side of Paradise Resort, also Bootcamp and Painan itself. So if you're on the East, you're unsure as if you might make it into the next circle, because there's a lot of action that might be unfolding over onto the eastern edge as they're getting pretty close to each other. But talking about getting closer, the circle is getting closer to making it into phase 2 as we're going to see where it's going to go. And it goes back on over to the east, a little bit of a hard shift. So now the team's over to the Northwest Island. They got to cross over the river, which can tend to be tricky from time to time.
Yeah, you were just saying, right? It might be difficult for the teams over on this eastern side to come back in. Well, this worked out perfectly for them. Obviously, you definitely can't count on it, but Slime, they're almost dead center with this. They took the control very early on. They didn't have to fight for it, other than after that first initial fight where there was no other teams who wanted to come and try third party and get involved. So they're sitting pretty right now, and they can bide their time and set themselves quite nicely up here. Same for YNK. They're just chilling. They know they've got a good spot. They're hoping that Gun might try and make an escape and they might be able to capture that on it. And that's what Gun are trying to do right now. They're moving back on forward. They're trying to find a way out of this. And they'll keep having a little poke up the top just in case a few shots come out towards them. But for now, they'll be sitting pretty. They'll be able to escape and they'll just take their time on this rotation. It's all about the cautious plays from here. And it's only the teams, like you mentioned, over towards Camp Alpha, up over towards the northwestern side, will have to work their way back in because there's just no risk now of wanting to stay on that side. You've got to find your way over. And you've just got to be hopefully one of the first teams over that doesn't have to fight their way across the bridges.
See, esports actually already kicked their rotation into play. They are starting to cross over the bridge. It was Yumi that was scouting on forward for C esports, which is great. And I believe by how this team is rotating really quickly, I think that shows to me that they did their research because only one team drops on the east of that bridge, and that is New Team. New Team is not in this lobby. So I think that here, C esports, if the research has indeed been done, that's why they're feeling so confident on pulling a very quick rotation over to make it to the mainland, to make sure they don't have to rotate across the river later stages, because crossing the river is never a good thing, but if you're crossing rivers like phase 1, phase 2, that's okay. If you're talking about crossing a river phase 4, 5, 6, that's where things get a little bit dicey. So I think that here C Esport have a really good game plan in mind. So let's see if they can execute it properly overall. As I'm seeing also Existence, they dropped onto the northwestern island on top of the big hilltop, the big mountain of the Sanhok map. And I believe that have yet to kick their rotation into gear. So Existence, I said it, they need to be a lot quicker on their feet to try and find those good, valuable positions. They have yet to do so far in this event as of yet. So hopefully today is going to be a day of change for them. As so many teams, though, pretty already central, really close to the start of boot camp. And I'm surprised, actually. I don't know what you think here, Banks, but boot camp they won the fight earlier. That was going to be the side of Slime 4KT, but they have yet to move away from this position, which I think the boot camp, if you have to move away from it late game, is so tricky because it's so flat all around. I would tend to move away early, but one player that's not going to move away from that one is Nazaboy. He's gone.
Yeah, Nazaboy was desperately trying to maybe scout ahead and see what was going on. Little did he expect was going to be the Magicians comfortably waiting for him in this one. Ghost and Mohammed are quite far away. They won't be able to even come back to try and battle back. And right now, I wouldn't even recommend they try and do that. So they'll sadly just go down a member and they'll have to sit there because the ATL Magicians will pick up a nice and easy kill point. They're the ones you love, right? The ones that you don't really have to fight for too much. Just give them the element of surprise and pounce all over them. Now, your killer is, they've been on top here for a while. They don't have to move either just yet. But I'm just trying to look. Are they doing enough scouting? Okay, they're maybe needing to pop up every now and again. They're all prone. They're all playing the sneaky snakes position. And yet they could try and have a look around a bit more often to see if someone else is going to come. Maybe they're just trying to play the long game with it. But I personally would be jumping up every now and again and just having a quick peek to see who else could be close enough, who else they might be able to take a few shots at. I was going to see where this next circle pops. And well, Bootcamp is just about in it, but we've gone continually over towards the eastern side. We had a hard shift last time and an almost hard shift this time into it. And for the Magicians, they're going to be pretty happy with that. Gun again are in a nice spot as well. Now, if you're Gun, you maybe have a bit of information of what's around you already. Probably don't know that Slime's there because I doubt they're making too much noise, but you might want to take a bit more of this southern control and gatekeep some of the teams that are wanting to come up from Quarry.
They already have Nerf me in a really good compound, actually, do mention that. So I don't think they have to move that much. They could tend to put a little bit more focus onto scouting and just making sure that no one's too close to them and deny teams trying to breach that position. But I think that here, Gun, and they actually all regroup in that exact same position where Nerf was. And they actually go for the compound. Yeah, I think they're actually going for a little hilltop position instead of the compound, which, you know what? High ground is always good, but when you have a compound that's so valuable nearby, I think that would be the better option. But hopefully that's going to be fine. But this is great. This is so great for Slime. Reason why, they were potentially going to get denied trying to move away, but because Gun moved away from that tricky position, they can push on forward easily. There's a little building over to the eastern edge. They're like, okay, we're going to send Fex on forward, and then because we know that position is free real estate, send the entire team out. They got a little bit lucky on that one, so hopefully now they can get in a good position without getting heavily contested, because I was a little bit stressed out for Slime purely based off the fact that Gun was there, but now that they're not, like, that's a piece of cake. Super easy.
I love this from Fex. He spots the crate, right? He knows it's there, but he doesn't just jump the gun. How many times have we seen this, Max, where players will just get a little bit overzealous? They'll go, oh, crate. And they're like a dog to a bone, running straight to it, and they want to take it. And then quickly, there's a load of bullets raining down on them. So, but maybe before they want to go for it, they're being slightly more cautious here. But Aimless, well, he spots players coming out towards him. It's your killer is. His teammate has already been knocked down, and he's going to be burnt out by the looks of it. Oh, it doesn't go quite. Okay, go for the window. I thought they were just going to finish off Suck real quickly. Your killer is they're looking to try and bait out the teammate into some fire. But they've got full control of this. They've pushed him back. They can easily get the finish off. They're checking on in it. They're hoping that some of his teammates might want to come in. But BBC, they were split up 2-2 at the time.
That was a good push from your killers. Nothing to say. Also, it's pretty hard to defend from this building when a team is coming downhill. Reason why you have that little overhang of the roof right in front of the windows. It can make it pretty tricky to actually look really high up. So overall, I think they knew that they could potentially push that one pretty far without getting attacked too easily from that compound. But now Team BBC, they got Aimless alone in this position. He still got his 2 teammates over to the west of where he is currently, but not in the position to really directly assist him. So Aimless is just going to try and hold on to a position, make sure they don't get too close of him, and maybe retract himself from that equation and get close. But your killer is actually getting shot from a distance, and that is going to be Alpha Pack making their way forward and slowly fragging it out, making their way into the kill feed. So they're looking for an opportunity to frag it out, but fortunately, the kill has yet to be confirmed. Method get back on his feet. Going to get into the building to stay safe for the time being. But they're very far away from the center circle, so odds are Phase 4 is not going to go their way.
Yeah, they're going to spend a lot of time running on forward, and they are being very cautious. I think they were aware of Aimless, right? Aimless ran away from them. He should have been spotted out. And he's making sure there is a bit of safety because he's got to try and group up with the rest of his teammates if it's at all possible. Oh, the shots come out towards him, and he takes a lot of damage straight in with a bandage, and that's the right decision. First aid kit actually is going to be used, but either way, healing himself up is needed at this point because he instantly took a lot of damage. Oh no, there's more from either side. He's pinned down. Maybe they'll get busy with this. He goes in for the fight. He tries to spray him down. He gets a knock. Beautiful stuff from Aimless. A double knock into play. And now Fantasy, you need to be careful, my friend. Zip Dog's coming around to back him up as well, but you still got to be so cautious. The Molly's gone out forward, and Aimless, well, he's looking to bring that perfect aim in there. I think he's living a lie with that name because he's able to pull off some nice shots straight onto Zip Dog as well. The jump shots come in as well, and Aimless, he's running and gunning. He's going for the charge. The revive's coming on in. The timing on this, if Aimless can pull this off, oh, he goes in for the first aid, and that makes sense. But there could have been a timing he had there. Obviously, we know it. We can see it, but he does not. Fantasy trying to play around the side. He hears what's going on. He's up on the corner. Aimless looks to pre-fire the position. A lot of damage being done, but Aimless, he cannot capitalize on it. He's going to be finished off, and your killer is stand strong, but it wasn't easy, and Valak's there to put more of them down in the blue at Phase 4.
Aimless, more like godless. That was a godly play. Not quite the clutch, but you know what? Still close enough for me. That is going to be a montage highlight play for sure. But Valak, unfortunately for him, a team went right in front of them, and that's going to be Yonku's. They've been quick, jumping the gun on that rotation to make sure they can potentially gatekeep and hold away from the circle all the teams on the southern and western edge. So this is a really good shot calling once again from Yonku's. They are looking forward to the game, looking for the circle to get a good position, and that's going to reward them with a few frags along the way. Up to 3 already, and especially up to a 4-man team. And that can mean so much into a game of Sanhok where man advantage is detrimental and will make the difference between you dying out or potentially winning a fight. But Existence, I said I wanted to see them move a little bit quick on that rotation, and because they were a little bit too slow, they're going to be taking that fight with Slime 4KT. Reckless up above as a Thugger. This guy's been popping off from the very start of this game. He's going to be taking that fight, and the angle's going to be found, and Reckless can't do much about this.
Yeah, he's pinned down. They know what's going on, but Fex now has to escape as well. This is where it starts to get chaotic. Shots coming from all sides. You don't know where to look or where to turn. And Clutch, he's going to try escape in the open. I thought he might be shot at there. He was taking a big risk with it, but he has managed to stay alive. Reckless looking to first aid himself up. Tick's not super high just yet, but he needs enough time to survive. These teams on the far western side have such a run to make into the next circle as well, that if they spend too long fighting here, it could be treacherous for their decision-making and how they go further forward. ATL Magicians, this is 2 games where they're given a pretty good circle, and they can potentially try and play their cards correctly. They didn't quite get the game, unfortunately, on game 1. Game 2 might just be their lucky charm. Second is maybe be the charm for them. But Team UNK, they're also in a really good spot. And the last time we saw them in a good position on Sanhok, they ended up taking the win up against KHK Esports. So do not count them out of this one. They might be able to snatch it away. Good mollies coming on through, maybe stopping them from pushing out early from that door. That smoke, that molly alone makes them take a little bit more tick damage down, which a little bit of tick damage could be detrimental. Clutch with the off angle onto Cold. Finding some shots, but not quite the knock. Not quite the knock. And that could be problematic for him. Cage still able to take the fight. And they went, okay, that was not a good play from Reckless. Wait for your teammate and try this if you're going to do it, right? Overwhelm him so this doesn't happen. Now, Reckless is going to push on forward just to try and get more information. The blue zone there already. But this is allowing Cage to be in a position where, okay, it's still going to be a big trouble to run. But he was able to even get that kill in the first place.
But oh no, he's going for the Vesper play. We saw that happen the other day, and so far 0% amount of success on the Vesper plays, but we'll see if it can happen now. It's going to have you go Team 13 Yonku's making their way forward after a great fight earlier. They're going to be taking that fight head on with Gun that took the first chicken dinner of the day, and Gun, they're already in the dip, waiting for their chance to strike, and they initiate with a UC play off Plaza.
Plaza still trying to do some nice shots there, even though he was prone. He's got his teammates around him. YNK, though, they're looking to fight this full force head on. It's going to be a bit of back and forth as Nerf Me wants to be able to try and be the sneaky snake. He's fighting and shooting through the grass, seeing if he can pick him off. Some grenades are going up as well, but will it finish anyone off? We'll have to wait and see. They're back and forth, going to be throwing the grenades up and down, and he's just got them pinned and ready. He's making sure they cannot escape. Jairbot takes some extra damage, but he's not quite finished off yet, and then he finally goes down. Nerf Me far forward enough to still put the pain onto them. They're up at 3 kills already, but they're already hit top 8 minimum here. So it's good positions. Make that top 6 now as more teams continue to die on out, and YNK have been eliminated. Oh no, Mohammed! Oh, just on the nick of time. They've just come alive, Max. Gun just said, all right, we're going to poke up here. We're going to take the advantage and we're going to rain down plenty of bullets on everyone.
Momo's like, maybe? I mean, no one's shooting. It's seeming calm. Well, no, unfortunately, always got to be careful onto this one. Great shot coming out, though. And that's going to be an extra player going out for the side of Eraser Crew. They're going to be taken out of the equation entirely. And now C Esports down to 1 player. They still picked up 5 kills on Sanhok. That's big. And also a top 4. This is potentially their best game yet in the tournament. And they are showing up strong with it. Oh, no, he's going to straight in the building. Does not expect an enemy player to be there. And he does go down to the hands of Legacy. But ATL Magicians have yet to move on forward. And he's barely, oh my God, he's barely in. He's barely in the circle there. That stressed me out.
It stressed me out. You know when you see the slight angle on it and you think, maybe he'll take some damage? Oh, no, he's okay, but just okay. He's in a precarious position, to say the least. And Gun,
that's my size of apartment.
Kills. Yeah. Just a box room. You're just in the corner like, guys, I got my PC, my desk in, but I can't really move. Oh, that's nice, though.
Student flat.
Oh, student flat. Yes, that's a London student flat for sure. Magicians are pinned down, though, mate. They are in a bad spot. Gun are continuing to pick up more kills. Legacy's on the floor. The Blue's going to just tick him away. There's no saving him now. The energy drink's going to be popped, and Kelvin, he's going to try and get the first aid kit off. He's just about going to manage it, but then he's got to get his skates on. He's got to run as far forward as possible. His teammates died, and he's the only one that remains. And Gun, they're willing to take the fights even without some cover here. Nerf Me out in the open fighting. Slim's trying to push around to find the player behind the rock. Ghost, he's all alone, and he's going to be going down next. Only one team is left remaining for Gun to take down, and again they've gone for back-to-back winner chicken dinners, and that is a huge play from Gun. Statement opening games here on this Friday, and this is a fantastic start for this team.
You hit the nail on the head. Back-to-back chicken dinner from Gun. And not only is that a back-to-back chicken dinner, that is the first back-to-back. UAE almost made it happen yesterday with 3 wins in a row, but no, not quite. But here, this is still going to be the very first official back-to-back win from Gun. And what a showing. Like we said on the first day, 3rd position without a win. They were shown they were consistent, and now they are proving once again that not only are they consistent, they can close off games, and in fashion at that, with so many kills, and especially, it was still alive as a 4-man team. On Sanhok, that is so hard to execute normally. And yet they make it happen without breaking a sweat. Team UNK, though, showing once again that they tend to rotate pretty well on this map. They take away a 3rd position. And ATL Magicians, they were in a really strong position from the very start. And you know what? 2nd position from being gifted a circle. I'm going to say that's still a pretty big game. But man, what a showing. These finishes are wild. And especially, once again, Gun, the reason why they won that first game was because they had so much coverage, because they knew they had the man advantage. They want to deny as much protection away from their enemies, and they did it there again. Got super spread, pushed it on forward to make sure that the enemy can't take a 1v4, doesn't even have a chance to find a knock or two, and they don't make it happen. So at the end, Gun, once again, showing that they can take the wins and close off the game in such insanely well-executed playstyles. I got to say, this team, I think that from what they've been shown on their first day and today, I potentially think they might even be the best team in this lobby.
Well, they are very close to it. Just listen to this. The first game, they had 30 points, 15 kills, 15 kill points. This game just now, they got 25 points, 10 kill points, 15 placement points. They now sit back in third place with 2 more games to go, and they are the first team to get back-to-back chicken dinners. Undisputed African Esports was the first team to have 2 chicken dinners. Gamers Unite Nations just said, anything you could do, we can do a lot better, and we'll do it back-to-back as well. When I talk about statement games, this is it. When we talk about consistency, this is the best form of consistency you can look at. I am more than impressed. And you pointed out to me, Max, I said, oh, maybe they'll try and gatekeep a bit of the South. They didn't, right? They went up the hill. They didn't even choose to take the compound, which would be maybe better because it's a good compound, like you mentioned. They went up to take the fight and to get more kills because they weren't happy with the amount of kills they had up to that point. This is great. This is what we love to see in PUBG Mobile.
Exactly. This is what really makes a team go strong, and this is what makes the legacy also of a team. The team that plays like this, I gotta say, is really impressive all around. So we'll be talking about these guys, I believe, for quite a while. I think they deserve it. They definitely made a spot in my mind. That is for damn sure. Now looking onto the other side, and actually, I'm looking at one thing that's really interesting. I need to get the schedule, the overall rankings, I gotta say, before the kickoff of today. At the start of the day, we were seeing Slime 4KT. They were standing in 14th position. And now you look at Slime 4KT in the overall standings, as it did move away, unfortunately. But Slime 4KT, they're currently standing in 15th. They actually dropped away. Surprisingly enough, they did drop down a little bit, despite actually playing games, which really should not be happening. So a little bit surprised to see that happen on this game.
Yeah, Mamba's going to be crying to us later on, but maybe he'll be able to turn it around in the final 2 games. And the interesting point you just mentioned there is, yes, okay, Slime have dropped down a place, but it's CE Sports, it's ATL Musicians, it's UNK that have all risen up, and they've pushed him that little bit further down. So this is now where we get to see such a crazy level of competition. I did not expect Sanhok to get that exciting towards the end. I did not expect to see back-to-back chicken dinners. And this really makes this lobby super competitive now. Because you kind of look at this, right? Where we see the first opening 2-3 days, you have a feel for what might happen. I wasn't sure what we were going to see from these guys here, but this has been a pleasant surprise.
Been really present, and also I think the one team can be really pleased with what's been happening today so far is going to be the side of Yonkers. Yonkers, they started off the day being in 25th position with 20 points. Now they currently was 50 points, so they got already double of what they did in 1 day in 4 games. Now just in 2 games, and they got even actually double that. They got an extra 30 points. They made it up to 50, and they jumped to 17th position. Sure, it's still not top 16, but you got to keep in mind that they still got 2 games to go, so that is easily doable for them, especially by how they've been playing. They're just raw fragging power alone is definitely something to look out for going into these games. So I think the Yonkers definitely made a spot for them in my mind as to potentially make into the finals of this African PMCO. And then teams that are still struggling quite a bit, I got to say, Your Killer is an Existence, 2 teams that I think have been given multiple opportunities, and yet they're just not able to organize themselves and capitalize on those opportunities, which I'm a little bit sad about. So still 2 games to go. They can still make that change happen, but I got to say, it's starting to be a little bit risky. If I were them, I'll be like, okay, we still got 6 games total to play before we know if we make it or not into the finals. This is our time to perform. If we don't, like, we're out. This is so unfortunate to say at this stage.
Yeah, and that's when you look at the teams like Boat, for example. I pointed them out because I thought their ranking game was slightly better, and then we come into this and, oh no, they're still really far down the overall rankings. It's like, okay, if you're not able to step it up at this point, it's probably over. So it's just making the most of the official games you've got left. It's about the most of representing yourselves the best way possible and learning and growing. And this is what we talk, right? People may look at this format and go, oh, we lose 16 teams at the end of this week. It's like, yeah, okay, it's a tough format, but there's so many games. There's 12 games each for these guys to play in and show their full form. If they haven't, then they need to use the rest of the games where they're so far behind to test something out, to use official games in the best way possible, to try something new and also learn as much as possible. Because this is the beauty of it all. There is growth to be had here for all teams.
It's true. Like, teams have been really coming into it together, especially we saw that happen for Group A and Group C yesterday. Like, so many teams improved so much, especially new team, despite that Miramar game, but we're going to forget about that one. Overall, teams have still really improved, and I got to say that I'm really happy to see this happen from a lot of these teams. You know, I dropped my sushi on the ground. I thought, like, this day sucks, but just by the games that have been happening today, I'm still really happy to see these teams show up to the occasion and get some potentially really good results into it, because I think that we have now, like, by what I've been seeing, so I changed my opinion completely from day one. I said that yesterday on the show. And I think that here we have, I would say we have a good 10 teams that I think would do really good in PMPL. I would love to see them make it to that stage because I think they have so much to bring to the table. And I would like to see the African meta go up against the other regions and see how they can potentially fight up against them, because I think that they can take a few big teams down out there.
And that's what it's all about. And when you spoke about dropping your sushi, I recommend people also don't drop their phones, especially if they don't have a case in it. And if you're going to have a phone, you should probably grab yourself one of the Reno 5G. They're born to win, right? It's the coming Oppo Reno 5 series, and it's the official designated smartphone of Pubg Mobile for the Middle East and African esports regions for 2021. Equipped with excellent hardware and software for gaming, this device should always be able to lift you up for the upgraded fun and enjoyment in the battlefield. That's what we've had so far. That's what Gun are certainly having, because they're just blowing us away with their amazing plays. But what we're going to do is blow away just for a little bit, for a few minutes, take a cooler, take a breather. You probably need it as well. And when we come back, we'll come back with the third game and Miramar. So stay tuned. We'll see you in a few. We are back and we are fast and furious into game 3. We're moving on to Miramar, and so far, oh my god. Okay, I didn't expect that, Max. Max just told me, because just so people know at home, I can't see him when we're at a break. He just told me he was going to cosplay, and I expected, I don't know, maybe like a slightly deserty looking shirt. You went all out. Where have you just come from? Where did you explain this, Max?
I just come back from Dubai. Like when we went to Dubai for the PMGC Finals, we actually went into the desert for an entire afternoon, and I was like, dude, I can actually use this at home. I did not expect this to be usable here, but you know what? I got my water goo to you to make sure they don't get out of I'm part of the hydro homies. You know, we're good to go. I got my snake, also rattlesnake from the desert. I'm all ready to go. I'm in the vibe. I'm feeling this Miramar vibes here. I'm ready to go.
I'm impressed. I've upstaged. You've done incredibly well. So you've made up for all the mistakes of earlier today. You look like you definitely fit in the Miramar desert. I don't think you're very bulletproof though, so we'll get you a vest for next time as well, right? Well, then a level 3 helmet might need to be added to that. You know, I have a level 3 helmet somewhere still. I got a level 3 helmet from one of the PUBG events we did ages ago, and I used it on broadcast once. Do you remember when we did the original PMCO?
Did you get a helmet? I don't remember. Dude, yeah, that's a weird flex. Okay, I would love that. Oh.
I got a helmet, and then my son's 4 years old. He stole it and just runs around the house with it. And I'm like, well, I don't have my level 3 helmet anymore. He thinks it's hilarious. But yeah, I'm going to have to up the levels now. As you guys will see this broadcast progresses, me and Max will try and theme ourselves as much as possible. What do we theme ourselves for a wrangle? How does that work?
Wrangle. Oh man, it's like the most normal maps. You got to go normal. Yeah. If we had Vikendi, I could maybe get like a big warm clothes, but of course that's taken off the table. We know that. Thank you, PUBG Mobile team. But no, so we'll try and get some more cosplays later on. We're okay. But at the end, we're still going to try and get ready. We're going to try and get serious. Even I don't think it's possible wearing this. But I love it. Regardless, now we're making our way to our game 3 on Miramar, and here's some. Oh, look at that. Oh, look at that. He's sending me. He's feeling good. But yeah, now onto Miramar. You know, we're looking for some potentially big rotations happening, and especially if we do have some big hilltop finishes, we're hoping to see no one slip down, as it happened yesterday with the side of New Team. Was very unfortunate, but also very funny and very entertaining. If you guys missed that Miramar game of yesterday, by the way, I would highly recommend, and I mean highly recommend, go back, watch it for a few minutes, and come back and put some Omega Lulz in the chat, and we'll kick W's. That's fine, because that was mental.
And we did not expect it, right? I think that was the craziest thing. We saw, I forgot the name of the player, but he was solo trying on his own, and he couldn't actually work his way up the mountain. He was like, okay, so the blue's coming. I can't walk around now. I can't go back. I'm just going to have to dial to the play zone. And then we saw the fight at the end where they're like desperately fighting for the hilltop. New team went to res their teammate, and then that didn't work out for them because they lost a vital position, and it was like a risk versus reward that didn't work out. We almost thought it was going to go Crater Fields, and then we got an even crazier ending. So, you know, we'll be fine with it. We seem to be delivering on the best circles, the most entertaining circles. I'd love for chat to let us know, do you prefer if it's a crazy circle or a normal circle? Because we know the players, they love the normal circles. But like for me, I like the craziness. It gives us more fun action to commentate. It also makes it very unpredictable. For the teams, I know they want their like, we just have it nice, we want it normal, we want to be able to play. And I get that, right? We want to see the best plays come through. And for me, Miramar, it's always been my favorite map. I've loved it since it's come out. I find it really fun for trying to play smarter on the rotations. I know you're not a fan of it, Max, but I love being in Los Leones. I love to be up there in the city, fighting it all out, causing madness. I just like the world to burn by the looks of it.
Apparently, I'm a Picado boy. You know, if I got a drop on Miramar somewhere, it's going to be Picado. And I love TM actually wanting the drops there, and that proves my point. By the way, that Picado is the better compound in Miramar at that. Is a Bigatron. Hey, I gotta flex my knowledge a little bit here. It was Bigatron. They dropped there, and one reason why Bigatron like to drop there is one, it's got incredible loot for a 4-man team. By the way, you're almost always going to be like tier 2 or tier 3 minimum, going to get your team up there. So you're going to be fully ready to take those fights upward. And also, you got easy access to high ground position right up north. You got so many roads to just move around easily and quickly if you need it at that. And also, the car spawns in Picado are out of this world. You're always going to be getting everything you need for a good game of Miramar. So I think that Picado also, talking about all these things that make Picado so good, is dead center of the map. So if you have like still a weird circle pop up, your Picado, boom, easy rotation. You can always get access to any point of the map from the middle of Picado. So that's why I love Picado myself, is because I find it really good. But Lost Leoness is really fun if you like to frag it out a little bit and go to the jaws of your enemies early game, which, you know what, I respect that. I understand it. If you want to, that's okay. But for me, Miramar is not about early game fights. It's all about rotation pathing and also IGLing, where you want to go and see on phase 2 what kind of circle you're going to be dealing with and what kind of terrain you're going to be dealing with. So that's why I like Picado myself. But, you know, anyways, it's just my input, just my personal opinion. And anyways, it's the internet. Nobody cares about my opinion, so it's okay.
I care about your opinion, Max, and I'm sure most of our viewers should as well, because you are the analyst man when it comes to all of this side of things. When you were talking about Picado so much in there, I was looking down this, and again, thanks to Mamba from Slime 4KT helping us out with knowing some of the drop spots before we came into these games. There is 4 teams that like to go Picado. There's 4 teams right now that like to do it and try and find out in a similar zone. So obviously a lot of them have to just kind of give up on it. The main 2 teams was Influence Rage Africa and Blackjack Esports. Okay, we're not going to see them this time around. They were playing out yesterday, so that's already happened. But when it comes to the overall ability of this map and what we get to see from it, right, Picado is quite a hotspot for it. So I'm looking for a lot of fun within this one. I'm looking to see if Gun can do what I didn't expect to see in group stage, is 3 chicken dinners. It would be insane if it's 3 back-to-back chicken dinners. That is just would be a whole nother level. But they just seem to be on fire. They seem to be not only just the most dominant team in the lobby, but you look at the rotations. It's very smart. You look at their positioning. Even the positioning that you said was strong, that they could have taken a compound, they avoided last time because they wanted to take the fights. They believe they were the better team, and so far they've proven it.
I mean, so far, Godsend, they are currently with also only 8 points away from first position. 8 points in one Miramar game and also one Erangel game. That's 100% possible. So I think they're feeling pretty confident overall. I hope they can see potentially make that happen. So we'll be looking out for them if they can try and catch up those 3 extra points. But I think that here, you should not be focusing anyways on number 1 position, because top 16 is the main goal, the main focus. They can still make it happen here. But still, 8 points is like, if you can just go to the final and say, yeah, we were also the number 1 team in the group stage, we're going to be absolutely fantastic. But with that said, you know, we're talking about what we're expecting to happen. No other better way of doing that than by jumping into the game itself. And finally, I was getting hot with my Goodra on my head, but I got my water bottle ready to go and get hydrated with the Hydro homies out there. So we're going to be set and stone and going into Miramar once again. And you wanted Lost Leoness? You know what? The playing path is going to start right towards Lost Leoness, and we are going to be in a really good spot for all of the teams that like to drop there.
Now, when we look at this, again, like you say, on a map like this, it's not too hard for the teams to get to where they want to go with it. I am going to keep an eye on what Gon want to do, where they want to try and go in this one. I also want to really see what the Magicians can do, because we've got to touch on them, the fact that they have worked their way further up. They've also made it a little bit more difficult for Slime 4KT here. We had high hopes for this team. We knew they're very capable. These last 2 games, they've not been bad, but they've also not been great. So you need a couple of these last 2 games, especially as you're getting towards the end of the amount of games you're going to play. You only have 4 after these final 2 of this day. So you only got 1 more day of play left for it. You need to start stepping up on the points, because you're not in the safe zone just yet, right? You know, you're sat there in 15th place and you go, we got still a fair amount of ground to be able to gain here. So it's a lot of points they want to be able to grab now. And there's a lot of teams who can upset you. If you go down to a team that points doesn't really benefit them too much, they're just playing it out and trying to do their best, that's less than ideal as well. You need to be grabbing some of those key points. You need to be able to find your confidence and your form, especially on these final 2 games if you're a team like Slime.
Oh, there you go. Okay, so you got to know, just a few weeks ago, Imperium was casting a little tournament, and he actually got an island finish over to the east.
No,
like that,
I've never had one.
I have. Same, and I've been asking for one for, like, I've been casting PUBG Mobile for 2 years now, and I've been asking, please, one day I want that circle, and Imperium freaking got it. So I'm just, please, one day, PUBG Mobile, can you give me one of those circles? I would be so thankful if it would happen today. But you know what? The odds of that happening are pretty slim, and especially now that I said it, I'm pretty sure I jinxed it. We'll see regardless, but now moving our way into a compound, we'll see exactly as the Racer crew is going to be taking that fight early on with Fallen 5. And in a compound like this, it is a pretty big compound, so if you can still avoid the fight and move away. But the one tricky issue with this compound is I talked about Picado being really good with car spawns. This compound isn't that great in terms of car spawns. They do tend to spawn on the outskirts, so that means you've got to do a lot of running to get there. So if teams want to disengage, it's going to get a little bit sticky to do so.
Now, as these teams are just looting for the very beginning part, I'm going to say, I almost had an island, and guess what happened? The team went to the island, and then it hard shifted to the west away from them, and they all had to get back, and they got exploded and shot it in the water, and it was all just a messy death for them all. It wasn't ideal at all. So I got so close, Max, so close that it was going to happen, and it didn't. So maybe this is our game. Maybe we can get it, and the players are really going to hate us because we keep giving them rough circles. But I promise you, it's not us. It's definitely the game, and you're just unlucky, and you have to deal with it, boys. And we're already down to just 15 teams even. And poor Bope, they spawned with 3 this time around. Not what they wanted, considering how far behind they are.
That's true. I just want to indicate real quick, because you mentioned the fact that we only got 15 teams in this lobby here. I do have to mention the fact that also Limitless Esports has not been playing. They only played 2 games, and it was on my first day. So it seemed like they have dropped out. So just something to keep in mind. No team was killed early on here. We just spawn in every game with 15 players, 15 teams, should I say. So it is normal is what we're happening here. And Bope also, we got to keep in mind, they did not play, they haven't played all their matches yet. They've still got 2 to come. They are really far behind. So they are potentially hoping to make their way back up there. So we're still 2 more games up there. They can potentially think of catching up. But this is weird because Marcia is very, and I mean very far away from his teammates, and he's just cut. You got an entire lean of players from Your Killer Is, and they're not going to allow him to rotate and reposition. So this is already looking pretty dicey for Bope.
And it is dicey for Bope. Their points they've got at the moment isn't really a way to get up, and this is where we talk about teams that need to make the best of a bad situation, right? They need to just use these games in the best way possible to try and learn forward. Even if you're behind 2 games, the points they've had for the games they have played is not, to me, in an eyes of the position. Unless you start winning all your games suddenly, I've not seen enough from these guys to go, oh yeah, you've got a chance in it. So we have to take it with a pinch of salt. What they also need to do is have a look around them, because they are not alone just yet. We're going to see that YKI, Your Killer is going to be close enough to them that he could be taking a fight. Manrobi seems to have a good enough idea that there's some information has been passed on to him, that he needs to be careful. He's prone down already, looking to see if he can catch anyone making a mistake, see anyone running around that he might be able to take some shots at. Maybe this is where they can find some early success. But 3 versus 4, you'd have to play oh so well to be able to do it.
Yeah, it does not make things easy for them. It's very similar to what happened with 777, where they keep on coming in hot with only 3 players. So it's unfortunate. So hopefully they can get that fixed throughout the event and potentially come into their 3rd and final day with a full squad. That would be big. But I've been reading a little bit of the YouTube chat, and you guys seem to be appreciating the effort I put into my cosplay. So I got to say, for that alone, arigato. Thank you so much, guys. I'll try and get a little bit further into it. Hopefully we can get banks too. Like one day, I got to say, just a little story time. I had a little bit of a cosplay also with a Glit Explosion. And she had a choker, and we were making fun of her for having a choker. So I took an HDMI cable and made it a choker. That is also that. There you go. That is story time for you.
That's certainly something else. Now, you touched on it before. Fallen 5. They were very close to a Razor, and they both well aware that this is going on. Ghost has a really nice position if he is able to jump up and take some of the shots as they begin to escape. He is going to just see Hamzy running across. Doesn't want to jump up just yet. He gets his weapon out. He's ready for it. He wants them to give him another chance at this. If he can find some early success from some distance. Razors have got a nice setup here. Look at the positioning. One far, it's Impulse at the back. He's got a huge high ground to play from. He can provide all the cover fire. And then we've got everyone else a little bit closer, ready to deal the damage onto it. And Fallen 5, sorry, even not Falcon, that's the other team in the other group. Fallen 5 are in a position now where they're also down a player in terms of they've only got 3 in the lobby. So not the ideal start again. These poor teams. I feel sorry for them.
Yeah, that happens quite a bit, unfortunately. It is PMCO. It does tend to happen quite a bit at this stage, but the further we go, we'll have like 4 squads every single time, which is great to see, and full lobbies filled to the brim with players of top tier level. But that's anyways, regardless, we've got to have teams make it through PMCO regardless before that happens. It's now Fallen 5. I think they know that now there's one player that's been the eyes of Sauron in that game. They know that he got all the information the moment they move from a building to another. They're going to be spotted out, and that information is going to be fed to the entire team. So, and which is what I think was needed in the first place. They're trying to just extract themselves away from this compound. They do not want to take an early fight. I say this about every single map. If they can avoid an early fight, that's great. But Miramar is even worse because there's a huge map. There's literally no reason for that to happen. And Fallen 5 understood that, sure, we looted up, we're good to go, but actually a few shots coming on through. But I thought that was actually the right kill for you. But no, that's actually the fight happening in El Azahar, where a player of Bope actually is going to be fallen down, I believe.
And that's where they need to be careful. If that ends up happening, little mistakes like that is where other teams can take full advantage of it. The Razors are just going to be, for now, learning about what's going on. Ghost is still in the vantage point. I love a position like this. You've got to have great patience with it. I think that's key. We see some players, you saw the first player run across. They took the shots and then they go, oh, okay, we know where he is and we know to be playing a bit more safe. Right now, okay, Fallen 5 know that there's players around him, but he didn't take some of these warning shots, which means Ghost, if he gets a huge advantage, when he knows the timing's right, he's got that trigger discipline to take the shots where it can really matter, where some big damage can be done.
Got some more action happening. This is on the outskirts of Los Leones over onto the east. So you know what? Banks is going to be happy about this one. He's going to get some of his main comp. Oh, it's not really in a compound, but the outskirts regardless is still going to be pretty familiar territory. But they're going to be taking a pretty good engagement. Feeling APX, pretty big spread. I have one player cold down below. But Clutch, unfortunately, of existence is split away. He was trying to be the eyes of his team, trying to scout and get some information going on forward. But he is away. But he's on such a position, it's really hard to just push him out of that position. And Clutch actually picks up a kill, 1v4. And also, I'm seeing his team in the distance. They are coming in to back him up, which is great. And Clutch can still feed that information forward to the rest of his team. So this is big. But Cold taking those shots. This is going to be a big head-on fight.
It is a big fight to be happening early on. And he's not in the most ideal position here. You can see he's checking all corners. And Clutch, oh, this is sneaky. He might be able to try and come in from above.
Banks, circle. Still got the islands.
Oh my. Oh, wait, I'm not getting too excited, Max. I'm calm down.
Sorry, yeah. We're adults, yes.
We are not big children that love the chaotic circles. I promise you I want it, but I'm not going to go too far just yet. But it's still there. If there's any team right now that want to jump to the island, you'll be doing me a great favor, and I will be thanking you and loving you for a long time. And right now, Clutch is loving life, because that was an easy kill for him to find. They tried to escape in the vehicles, and his teammates are going to have to leave him behind as he's knocked on down. So Clutch can continue to try and push on this. And this is, okay, I understand, Cold, you're wanting to get out of there, but you're actually in enough distance where you might have been able to save him at that point. But instead, you're just going to get overrun. All of Exist are now there. You missed the timing on it. You drove on by, and I guess you're just playing for placement points. Your poor teammates just sat there going, I guess I'm just waiting. I guess this is just the end, and I can hear what's going on. Exist are being smart here, though. They're checking everything. They're being careful. Reckless, bang, done, ended. You're out of here. Nice and easy. 2 kills found for him. And they're still up at 4 players. This was really well handled. It isn't super impressive. It isn't something crazy, but they didn't, I was a bit worried when we saw Clutch, and he was trying to go a bit too far on his own. I was thinking, okay, if you do that, you might get picked off. But now they've done it in the smart way, in the positive way, where you've not taken big losses.
Yeah, I fully agree. Overall, Clutch just knew he was in a really big disadvantage, was able to find 1 great kill initially, and he's like, okay, this is still a 1v3. I'm not going to go overzealous. And he just stalled for so long, allowing his team to actually come in and back him up. Then they find an extra kill. That was super well played and overall really respectful from Existence, which is what I was hoping to see. I think that kind of mentality and shot calling in general is what I've been seeing best of them so far throughout this entire PMCO. So I want to see more of that coming out from Existence. Now I want to see also some good positions coming out potentially their way. But around Los Leones, another team that's going to be coming on by, that is going to be team number 8, Pain Africa. As they're looking, he's got a mini. He's got a good scope too. Arrow, but gonna go for the shots. Arrow taken down to mid HP, but still going to be standing on his 2 feet.
A nice attempt, not an overcommitment from it, and they're sticking together as a team with this. They'll get the reposition on go. This is where Exist need to be careful on what they want to do from here as well. Considering how the hard shift went over towards the eastern side, they've got a decision to make at the same time. I'm surprised this is still going on, by the way. Fallen 5 versus Eraser. These guys are like following each other slowly, just moving ever so gradually across. Poor Fallen 5 haven't been able to escape their clutches just yet. More shots going to be rattled out towards them all. Getting in that car is risky, Hamzy. He's going to try and be able to drive away here. But I like this. Eraser are checking all their corners. They're not letting one player push too far just yet. They're going to go as a team, and they're going to go and take the fight. He was hiding behind the cactuses, and Tezuka, he was trying to get the finish off in there as well. They've got to protect their teammates, but it's going to go in favor of the Erasers. That is a good start for him. Despite the first player getting knocked, they kept him alive, and now they can just fall back a little bit. They know they've got the numbers advantage. They'll try and pull the revive off, and they'll try and push on forward from this. Hamzy wants to do some damage with the nades, but they're not quite connecting, and he may decide, I need to get out of here now.
So you're telling me this entire time Fallen 5 had a buggy and didn't try to leave? I'm surprised. And now they died because of that decision. And the Eraser crew going to pick up a juicy 3 frags for themselves. The circle goes towards Impala. It's still a little bit. Just a teeny wencey bit of the island still available. We'll see where it goes later on. But anyways, it's going to be now focused on Impala pretty heavily. Would be cool if we could have a little bit of a POV of the map for some time to have it zoomed in, as we would like to see where these teams are trying to enter from. But regardless, from the west, the fight is still currently unfolding. Got ourselves Aphelion and APX to picked up so far 0 kills and lost Blessing and Rusty Boy all along the way. So that's very unfortunate for them, where man advantage is very, very important in a game of Miramar. And Pain is just around the corner too. So this circle that's going to be shifting in phase 4 is definitely not going to be in their favor. So matters are going to get pretty worse all around. But Team BBC pushing away forwards towards one player of Team UNK, and that is Ghost, and he is stranded without any backup whatsoever. Well, they don't know.
No, suck! Oh, he doesn't get finished off though. He's still alive. He's so lucky right now. Oh, he did get finished. No! Oh, I thought he didn't get finished off. I thought there was a chance.
They coming in?
The blue also took it down. Yeah, I would leave. That's the smart play. Why are we getting so much madness already with this? I'm sat there thinking, yeah, okay. Tuck, you just about survived. You're very lucky. Your teammate saved you. And then tick, tick, tick. Unlucky. That's not what they want to see.
Yeah. It's weird because I'm wearing a rattlesnake shirt. Normally it's on Sanhok you see snakes, but I think that this time it kind of made some players change their mindset and mentality coming into this one. But overall, Pain still moving on forward, trying to move into the circle. But Slime seems like they are thirsty for blood. They want some substance. They want some nutrients. And they're going to not find it, unfortunately. As King Gaming finds them first knockdown onto Fex, as they're looking for the squad wipe onto Slime.
And Slime here, we spoke about them. They need to find some success, Max. They need to be able to fight back here. They can't afford players to go down early on. I'm not against them fighting this early, especially if they need to, but I am against them not being able to take a dominant game here today. That nade nearly finishing off Fex as well. They've got to be careful. They can't quite get into position to save him just yet, but PN, they're further pushed back. They're not able to be in it completely. Oh, lovely
M24.
shot, Lewis.
That was sick. By the way, I just want to see in the kill feed.
Of course, are on the kill feed. Yeah. Yes.
There you go. In the kill feed, things are getting pretty cool. But Team UNK actually got 1v2'd by one single grenade of cold. That's something to also keep in mind. So Team UNK, I believe they just got squad wipe purely based off of that. And now, looking at it, Yonkus, they're looking for the push. They see the smokes, but they're going to get contested by the side of Pain. Ooh. So this is going to be a huge fight on the west.
YNK, Brennergod, going to provide the smoke down to make sure he's got the cover he needs. He knows one of his teammates has already been knocked down and he wants to continue to fight it out. Lewis continuing to put up the numbers and put in work. Look at this circle. We didn't get the island, but it is still all the way far over. Down south from Impala towards the eastern side. I'm sorry, chat. We didn't get what we wanted, but we are going to get a crazy game because, look, there is not much space for these teams to fight on. If you want to take a position on the road right now, that could be something smart, and that's what the Magicians are doing. That's something they can play around because you've got good access routes as well, at least for the meantime, but you may have to move before the circle goes down smaller another step because you don't want to be cut out from that. For YNK, they're up at 2 kills already. They're in a good spot. The gun, we saw them on the kill feed. They're doing damage from far away.
So I got a question. ATL Magicians, who did you pay to get all these circles? Every game today, they've been always having a really good circle late game. So overall, pretty impressive stuff all around. Seems like they do know how to rotate pretty central and increase the odds of the circle going in their favor. But here, Gun holding them at gun's length, and that's going to be another team that's potentially going to have a little bit of a hard encounter. Team number 10, C Esports. Fantastic rotations earlier, by the way, on Sanhok. And here they're going to be locked in this gas station. Pretty hard for them to rotate away, especially knowing they're on the edge on the northern side of the circle. Just moving in currently, making this way slowly and surely towards phase 5. But nerf me once again. The insane shots. This guy, man, this guy, he's huge at this kind of range. He hits every shot so far.
He has impressed me. The whole team of Gun have impressed me. And I'm not going to get overhyped yet. There's 11 teams remaining. They've got 2 kills. If they can keep this style of play up, they might be the first team to give us 3 chicken dinners. Even if it's not in this game. I just have that much faith in them right now. The awareness, the scouting, the team play that's in full effect. So many teams are being eliminated right now. It's going to be very difficult for Gun to hold on to a position like this because they've got so many around them, but at least they're gatekeeping C for now. And C are no easy team for them to get past, but look at Slim. He's still looking for more fights. He's getting the information. He sees Your Killer is running on in, and he knows, okay, potentially there are 3-4 teams here now that we might have to deal with. So we have to be aware of that if we do take the fight with C.
They should already try to be looking into the future and look what are going to be opportunities available at hand for the later circles. Ghost spotted out by Fantasy. Your Killer is there, and he actually gets on the final spray, so that's great. And Ghost was not able to reposition, as in such a spot also where that's going to be an easy kill. Oh no, wait, it was stolen away. It was stolen away by, I believe that was, wait, I didn't have time to see who was in a kill feed, but I believe that just got snatched away by Existence. Okay, fair enough. You know what? Hey, you're not quick enough to secure the kill. That's your fault. We're going to snatch it. Easy point for us. Thank you so much. But, man, I'm scared. Alpha Pack, yes, they are in a really bad position. What I mean by that, they got to make it away from the edge of circle and go uphill without information at that. And when they're also getting gatekept by the side of Your Killer is, get held at bay by such a team is going to be a really big issue. So hopefully they can walk it up there, and hopefully they got a few cars. I can see on the minimap, but even with a car, that is not going to be an easy task at hand.
It's certainly not an easy task at hand. It's certainly not an easy game and an easy circle either. No matter if it went island or not, okay, it didn't go island, but this is still difficult for a lot of these teams. This is still very hard to deal with. Exist position could be vital right now. That's the one I'm keeping a keen eye on because they've got all the vision around them, but they have to be careful of the team swarming from the distance. The circle now has moved away from the Magicians. It's gone up towards the northeastern side right now, and this is going to be interesting for Gun to have to fight on in because they still haven't dealt with C.
And ATL Magicians, this is what it feels like not being gifted a circle. There you go. You're actually going to have to move. I know it can be hard, but anyways, they're going to have to do so. And this is great. This is really, really, truly great when you're looking at for the side of Alpha Pack. Now, they don't have to move away too much. They also got a good ridge line, by the way, straight up north of the road. If they can get access to that position, not only will they see all the teams coming in from the west, but also potentially hold at bay the team coming from the south, especially ATL Magicians. Hopefully, they see that opportunity and try and move there first. And if they get positioned there initially, that could be a great opportunity for them to get an on-year win, but also their first win in this African PMCO. Ooh. The fight's still rolling on through as Vile once again with a mini 14, trying to pop some heads, but no heads go flying just now.
C cannot escape, though. Every position around them is locked down. Vile's dealing the damage onto their vehicles at the same time. He does get tagged up and dropped down. That could be problematic. He maybe went too far there, and I don't think a revive is going to be able to come in. I don't think they've got enough time to get this done, but this may allow C the chance to escape. The teammates, you might want to help him out a bit there, mate. He just drove off and left some of them behind. They're getting picked apart. The kills are happening across the whole map. Yumi's like, wait for me. I need to get in the back, please. Oh my, that got crazy real fast. He was so close, they definitely could have got in. A little bit of communication error may be coming into full effect there. And see, you've got no kills at this point. You've made it into the top 9, but you want to push a stretch further. And Ellie and Yumi, well, they've got a lot of work they need to do.
C Esports are actually able to hit those shots while driving. Like, you might not realize how hard that is, but that is mental to actually hit on a regular basis. Normally, Chinese players are the teams that tend to do that really good, but man, that was still some impressive shots from C Esports. But they still got to move on forward. They still got the circle to get into, and if they do not, the blue zone's going to be there. Your Killer is just like, I'm just going to be cruising on through into Gun, and that's potentially the biggest mistake you could ever make, as one of their players is going to get taken down, and Fantasy is out of the lobby.
Oh my, this is incredible stuff. Nade pinned, ready. Oh, it doesn't quite finish him off. A nice bit of damage, though. Yumi. He's trying to snake on forward. That blue's catching up with Ellie. I don't like his chances as well. Another nade going out. He's really trying to pull this off. Slim's also found the kill, though, so that's going to be nice. The knocks are going to be able to at least finish him off. The grenades aren't going far enough to make sure the damage happens. How long can they keep this up for? I know they've got the ridge line, but like, you can't snake your way through to it.
It's really going to be a hard one. They're trying to get it over to that broken wreck of a car. Potentially, that could be if they can get access to it. But still, they got only 40 seconds to go, and then the circle's going to be engulfing them into their holy grasp, and it's going to be ticking down pretty quickly, especially phase 5. Going into phase 6 is going to be the one where you don't really want to remain in the blue zone for too long. No amount of meds kits will help you up against that, unfortunately. Existence, though, which I do truly believe their best game so far. They've been proactive. They've been taking fights, being still respectful when they did not have the advantage. This is truly their best game yet. in this entire PMCO run. Let's see if they can now convert that into a big win and take those 15 positioning points. But Yonku's getting into a big fight with Slime, and Slime start off with a good knock.
But is it going to be enough here for Slime? Vex, he's down, but he's not out of it just yet. There's plenty of smoke covering him. But Aim has been knocked as well. Oh, Slime, it can't be like this. Not again. They're fighting back a little bit here. Pronto's able to pick up the knock, but he's having to back away for now. He's going in for the fights. Pubg wants to take some shots at the escaping vehicles in front of him. Everyone is just full sending it. Jairbot, that is dangerous, my friend. Magicians are there right in front of you. Oh, my God.
What?
So many shots coming on through. Jairbot, how are you alive? This is insane. What is he doing?
Riz, you're trying to fire hard.
Back. That tree should have fallen apart with the amount of bullets that have gone through it. That was a smoke that he put on out. Is it going to even provide cover for him, though? I don't think it is. I think it just fell down too far. Yeah, it's just missed him by the edge of it.
What was... We're watching a James Bond movie, I'm sure about it. That was one of the most insane stunts in the game I've seen in a while. For sure, and he's still alive at that. That is potentially huge. He has contested away the position of ATL Magicians, but ATL Magicians pulled off the res. They're still up as a two-man squad, so now Jairbot not having that man advantage anymore, so he's still going to have a lot of effort to go through, but the smoke's denying that visibility away from ATL Magicians. It is so well executed. He was given an opportunity, and he is seizing that one open-handedly. Let's see if that's going to be enough to potentially convert that one into a win. That would be great coming out from this team, but still so many nades coming out, and Existence still fragging out so dominantly, but now they got to go downhill. They still got Aero and Clutch down below, but will there be enough to allow the entire team to make it? The spot player of a Razor Crew in the distance, pop it off instantly, and a Razor Crew get eliminated.
The Razor Crew down and out now. Who's the next one to fall? Exist. They were in such a good position. Slimer still fighting it out with 2 players down already and 1 now knocked. Fugger is not going to have a chance. It was 3 kills and a 5th place. It's not bad. It's much better than what Slime have shown us throughout today. But it's YNK that are continuing to push on forward and pick up the pieces and pick up the kills. 9 alive, but 4 teams remain. And Jairbot, I'm just surprised he's still alive, Max.
If he wins this game, I will not know how to react. This would be the biggest deal. And ATL Magician got eliminated. We didn't have the camera on that, so I do not know how that happened. But if Jairbot actually took that as a 1v2, that is also extra impressive in my eyes. That means he basically solo squad wiped the entirety of ATL Magicians. So that's so damn impressive coming out from Jairbot, from the Yonkus. And the Yonkus, they've been looking out for it. I'm a big One Piece fan, so I would be happy to see them take a big fat win. But they still got to make it downhill, and that's going to be for the side of Aphelion 8PX. Oh, no, sorry, Alpha Pachia, should I say, as they're going to make their way down. They still got the snipers, but the circle is not going in their favor. Actually, no one is in circle, and this is ending up on a dip a ridge line. This is one of the worst positions to end up a circle with, because you just do not know who's going to take the win at the end.
For Exist, this has become really difficult because they've got the ridge line now, but it's the one that's not inside the circle. If they want to push on forward into it, they're going to be out in the open. Now, I see some car movement, and this is interesting. Clutch, is he going to try and get the crate in the smoke? That'd be cool. That'd be impressive. Clutch is taking some shots, though, as the vehicles barrel out around him. Clutch using it for cover. He spots out Ellie. He takes the shot, and he gets the knock. Beautiful stuff. Great awareness. They're up at 11 kills. It's just Reckless and Clutch, but they've had great positions. They've been fighting from start to finish here. They've been looking for any opening they can find, and maybe now, with the cover of the crate, Clutch has found a way. Oh, he's so...
Oh, yes.
Oh, no, he missed! Oh, my God. That is so unlucky. This poor guy, just on the nick of time, he tries to line the shot up perfectly, but now Abel is well aware of his position. He thought he could get it done. Jairbot's still picking up kills. How is that possible? This man's a solo one-man army. Clutch finally landing a shot, and that's how you get it done. But there's still 2 more players for him to deal with, and Reckless needs to provide some cover fire for him now.
What? Existence from 0 to 100 real quick. By the way, I do have to mention Existence before this game were in 23rd. They could make it top 16 purely based off of this, but Clutch, no, that's too many good shots from you, my dude. You're going to get denied. But still, Alpha Pack, they were out as a 4-man team. They're down to 1, and he cannot go for the res. And there's still that one player of Yonku still alive, and he gets the frag. He gets it.
Jairbot, he's a one-man army. He's doing it all. I'd love to see how many kills he has picked up on his own. Jairbot, 7 kills out of the 10 for his team. 1 man, 1 mission to kill them all. He sent it in a car down to the ridge line. And now he's technically in a 1v1 because there's no way Awesome is going to be able to revive his teammate here. This is the play. AP, you had such a strong position and advantage. You sent it in the cars. You almost managed to get it done. But it's Yerbot. He's just sat there. Oh, he sees him. He takes the shots. The backpack was sticking out. That tree, it's not thick enough. More damage done towards him. Yerbot, full confidence. He's going for it once again. This man is an unstoppable machine. A PUBG mobile beast pushing his way on for the win. They try to spot each other.
No!
Oh, he doesn't get it. He tries, but he fails right at the end. And AP grabbed the win.
Damn, that was... I was sad we were not going to get an island finish, but you know what? That finish right there made up for it entirely. That was one hell of a way to close off a Miramar game one. Normally of the most passive maps, but that finish one of the most insane ones. And Yerbot, you asked it earlier here, Banks. How many frags do you think he got? He got 8 kills, and I do believe that means he did get the 1v2 up against ATL Magicians. So if I'm not mistaken, I believe that means he made a 1v4 versus ATL Magicians. We'll have to have a replay later on to check exactly if that is true, but I believe Yerbot did indeed take a 1v4 clutch up against ATL Magicians after the wildest play I think that happened so far in this tournament, so that's mental. But not only that, great play from Alpha Pack coming down to this one, really taking good control in the finishing moments to make sure they can potentially secure that game. Also, the side of Yonku's getting some real clutch plays with Yerbot, but also Existence. I mentioned this from the very start, from day one. I wanted to see Existence step up a lot more, and this game was really their golden opportunity, and they seized that one so well, not only by positioning and rotating properly, but their fragging power was insane, and especially the sniper shots. Like, the sniper shots from them, from that high ground position on the M24 were just out of this world. So the top 3, fully deserved by all the teams up there. That is one of the best games I've seen in a while.
That was exciting. That was incredibly fun. And my, oh my, I did not expect it to end like that. I thought Yerbot, you know, with all that mad confidence, the amount of kills he picked up, he was going to be able to have it, but it just wasn't meant to be. Now we look at the rankings. Now we look at where everyone stands. And you mentioned Yonkers. Look how far they've risen up, Max. 8th place now. They're sitting pretty. Okay, it's not 100% confirmed they'll be through, but this is looking damn good for them at 73 points. And poor Slime 4K, it looked like it was going to be a game where they had a lot of chances, a lot of opportunity, but they still couldn't make it work. They're in the top 16. It's still fine. It's still good, but it's not comfortable enough to be sitting pretty and say, yes, we've made it.
Slime are slipping away. It's very unfortunate because they're playing extra games and actually not able to get extra rankings, and they're on 15th position. This is a very slippery slope for them. But also, you just mentioned Yonku's making an 8th position. I do have to mention, before this game, Yonku's were in 17th position. They were just barely potentially making it back into the top 16. And this is a huge jump. They jumped an extra 8 rankings in total. So this is fantastic from Yonku's, especially coming out from that one player. So really what I wanted to see coming out from this team, but still the top page. We're really happy to see the team step up for these games all around. We're going to now try and head on over to the second page of these rankings and see what we're dealing with. And Existence, there we go. Also in the exact same position where Yonku's were before that last game. One good game, they're making top 16. That is where you have to be. And not only them, but Alpha Pack, where were they before this one? Alpha Pack, let me check real quick. Alpha Pack were in 25th. This is the redemption arc. This Miramar game allowed 3 teams that initially were struggling to climb back up and maybe have a chance to make it into the finals. This was huge for so many teams in this lobby.
Now, when we come into this lobby, right, and we look to what might be on offer, I was saying about all the names we've seen right at the top in there, but I have been pleasantly surprised by Exist. I have been pleasantly surprised by what we just see alone by Yonkers there, by Yerbot, sorry, because not only did he just take it in the car, you would question that all day long, wouldn't you? That he sent it in the car, he walked straight into Magicians, you think, okay, it's do or die. He individually handled all of them. I'm really lost for words, Max, and I don't find that often. We're commentators. We're always talking like, but this was just really good. This was unexpectedly good from these guys. And with Existence now being in a spot where they now sit in 17th place, I feel like if they can just put up a bit more like that, right, a few more numbers, we saw some key shots being hit, there might be a good opportunity for them to continue to rise up in this. Okay, there's only one more game for today. I just love when we cut to the cameras and I see you looking like this. Just makes me smile. And yeah, okay, we keep going forward with it. There's only one game for these guys, but there's still 5 games in total for them. So anything can happen. And that's the magic of this kind of format.
It is, and we've seen the teams then rise up to the occasion and really put himself in such a good position. And we are having exactly what we mentioned at the start of the show here, Banks. The fact that because you had 10 teams down in that bottom 16 that only played 4 games beforehand, and because all of these teams now actually catching up and having almost 8 games, just one more game to go before we get to that point, you had some big shifts, some big changements, and teams like Saint now that were initially at the start of the day, like really close to top 16, that they fell down heavily. They're currently in 25th, and so many teams are unfortunately watching these games, can't do anything because they're not playing today. And like, well, we really need to put some extra pieces of effort going into our final day. So this is making some teams really happy, and unfortunately making some of the other teams that aren't playing today a little bit stressed out. And I fully understand that, because here I cannot act on this, and I can only act on, or is it going to be day 6 or day 5, depending on when you're playing. So things are getting a little bit dicey, a little bit scary, I do believe, for a lot of these teams. But also, this is just a big bit of fresh air going to be taken by a lot of these teams, especially the ones that perform really good in that top 3, to, okay, we made it close to top 3. Now we just got to remain consistent throughout the entirety of our results, and we're just going to solidify our position in top 16, which group stage, it doesn't matter if you're top 1, top 2, top 3. Sure, there's an extra flex you can do at school. That's okay. But you need to make it into the finals. The moment you make it into the finals, now that's when you aim for those top 3s. That's when you have to close off games.
Yeah. That's where you have to bring that whole other level of it. And I'm just looking at this, right? I'm looking over towards the results. So we saw Gun. They sat in a position where they've had 2 back-to-back chicken dinners, then still a respectable 8th place. And okay, it's only with 3 kill points, but as a day overall, that's just wild on how far they've been able to grow themselves. And we still got one more match on a wrangle to come their way, where they found their initial success coming into it. So what we're going to do is look for more success going into a wrangle. But first of all, we need to take a quick break. We're going to just chill for a few moments. We're going to catch our breaths. I think Maxman needs to let out some of the heat and the steam that he's got wrapping up underneath him. And we'll be back in just a few moments. We're back and we've got one more game to take you through today. We're going all the way back to Erangel. We've been through the jungle. We have then been through the crazy sandstorms. And now we're going back into the calm before the storm. And that storm is coming tomorrow because we still got 2 more days after this as well. Plenty more PMCO action for all of you to see. And today, the storylines have been crazy. We spoke about these teams needing a certain amount of points. And I'm going to start on one thing. And I know my boy Mamba, he's probably watching in the chat, the team manager of Slime 4K, but you guys need some more points. You need to grab them now. This game is really so important. And now every game you can say is important when it comes to it. But like, they've dropped down. They're standing within the top 16. But now you need to solidify yourself with a few more points because you're running out of games. They've literally got 5 more games left of this. And it's not like they're playing bad, but they're just not getting high enough up on these placements alongside the kill points with it to really push themselves far enough to be in the safety zone just yet. And that's where everyone wants to be. Like, what number do you say the safety zone is? Because like, I normally look around and say the 90 to 100 mark, and you're like, okay, pretty much there's only a certain amount of teams that can grab that. You should be very clear. But I feel like if you're in like the 80s onwards, then there may be the safety in it by the end of the whole thing.
Yeah, I was about to say 85 to, like, I would say around 85 points would be the bubble overall. Normally I have John Allen does really good. He always like does big wild calculations, and he's like way better in math than I am. And he like brings like these like super high tier calculations and says the bubble's exactly going to be 53. And then we go into the tournament and it's the team that barely qualifies 53. That's like mental stuff. So it would be cool if we had him. I might ask him a few questions after this to make sure. But usually he's the math guy when you want to ask him some stuff for PUBG Mobile. But otherwise we're talking about point bubbles. Here, if you want to be safe in general, we want to be around top 8. Here, you're looking at the side of Slime, the team you just mentioned. They're currently in 15th position. They got 1 more game to go. They got 58 points. They're really close to like all the teams above him. So if they get one really good game, they could climb from just 15th position to 8th. It's literally possible in just one single game. It is possible, but they need to be top 3, even I would say top 2 minimum if they want to secure that from happening. But overall, yeah, I fully agree with what you said there, Banks, that Slime has been a little bit absent today. They showed some really big promises, especially with the likes of, Storm doing so good on that Miramar game just a few days ago. But now they've just been a little bit absent, not really present in the mind and in the flesh. So hopefully in this final game, they're going to reformat themselves, get themselves a little bit of a better kickoff into the game. It is back to Erangel regardless. And they had some really good early game rotations, I do believe, on that first Erangel game today. And they were in a really good spot, but they were rotating early on the early game, super quick. And after that, they just fell off and started rotating pretty slow, and they were getting gate kept super easily. So I would like to see a little bit more consistent speed in terms of, you rotate quick early game and you also rotate quick into the late game stage, and you might be in a real better position. But I'm not only looking for Slime 4KT. I got a few other teams I'm going to be looking out for, especially Team BBC. We haven't seen this team too much. Currently, they're standing in 24th position, and this has to be the team that today I have seen the least of, which is super surprising because they were so explosive on their first day, but today is not much happening for them. So a little bit surprised to understand why that's happening, because I think they haven't changed much, but yet it's just not working.
No, it's not working. And this is the thing. You look at teams that try and they can be a bit hit and miss with it. And I agree with you. What you said about BBC, we saw them being able to take some nice engagements. They didn't play like, it wasn't sloppy, but yeah, I haven't really even seen them. I think I remember them once on Erangel, and that was about it. Like, other than that, they're not even sticking in my mind for some of these games. When I'm looking at teams that are sticking in mind, okay, Gun, we've covered them. They've had the 2 chicken dinners. That's fine. But you're now going to look at Yonkers, right? After that, just an almost solo heroic play to take the win. That was incredible. YKI have been up there as well. Been seeing a lot of good stuff from them. I would also say when it comes to it, that like Bope sit in my mind of being, okay, very unlucky, but also they're playing from behind in many situations. And I always see them in terms of rotations, it's looking smart, but it's actual engagements they've not been able to have on a good level. And that's something that they're going to have to fix. And it may be too late because of how far behind they are on the rankings, but it's now about, okay, what do we adjust from here? Make the most of it. We keep coming back to it. It's not just about, okay, you're out. It means you've got no hope ever. You can use all of these games to give you the best practice possible at the highest level. And that's what the PMCO is, right? It's the qualifying point for a lot of these teams to show their stuff and show them that they're capable of being some of the best teams within their own region.
Just brought up the point of the side of Bope, and I fully agree with that. And we got one perfect example for that is actually the game of Sanhok. We go just a little bit back memory lane, and we remember that game in Sanhok that they dropped towards Ruins, entered through the western side, and it was such a good rotation. Everyone was like, damn, they can easily make into the circle without even taking a fight. And the very first fight they take, boom, eliminated. They lack that fragging power. You know what? It's sponsored by Rona 5G, so maybe can use those to make and improve your gameplay just a little bit if you want to. There you go. That'll make them happy. Regardless, I think that would be a good way for them to potentially go for it, is just focus a lot more on their team play. We saw Saint do that, and their fragging power improved drastically from day to day. And I think that this is another team, Bope is in a very similar situation where they need to increase that team fight potential, play together, get those sneaky off angles. We saw teams do it so good in the few games we had today so far. So I think that, going after today, sure, they're still in a really scary position. Scary position, this is really, this is horrible. They're in 30th. They're 2 points away from last position. So here, if they're going to change something, it needs to be a drastic change, and not only will allow them to get consistent points. Here, they not only need to be consistent, they need to catch up. And to catch up, what you need is third positions on a regular basis. You need to do what Gun did on the first day to get back up there. If you just get decent games, that's not going to cut it. That is not going to be enough. So hopefully Bope has it in them to try and improve over time and make it back into the top 60. But with that said, that is enough chit-chat for us. We're going to make our way. Well, we're still going to keep chit-chatting, but in a game this time. We're going to go into it. We're going to be diving onto game numero 4, and that is going to be on good old Orango once again. Round top of Sanhok Island, we had Team UNK drop there. That's going to be great for them.
Oh, it is going to be great for them if it is a possibility of where the circle may go in the end. We already had an almost military-based game that could have potentially been there, but this plane path. Okay, it's going to make it slightly harder for the teams that want to go over towards Hospital, Georgia Pole. But in general, it's not going to be the end of the world, just a slightly bigger map that maybe longer term you have to take to it and how you get to it. For our Novo teams, we know we've had a couple. It's not an issue at all. So we'll have to wait and see how it all pans out. I'd like to know maybe some teams, because I see it sometimes when you get a plane path like this, some of the teams that go up towards Georgia Bowl even just decide to go to a secondary spot. So maybe that'll be the case. Maybe not. We'll have to wait and see how it all pans out for these guys.
I'm really interested with the decision making from the likes of ATL Magicians, also Yonku, especially Yonku, because ATL Magicians, we mentioned it, they did drop around Quarry Ferry Pier, so they're not going to get too far out of that one, so they're going to actually go for the bridge up west. But here, if you want to drop in this position where, for example, Yonku are, and you want to imagine making your way up to George Pole, the car spawns from around Quarry, Gatka Fields, Ferry Pier. Primorsk has some good car spawns, but around that position entirely, the car spawns are pretty rare and random, so it's not great to put your entire playstyle around it. So it seemed like we're not even going to go for it. I thought they were going to go because they dropped so early, but no, they're just going to commit to Sanhok Island, so there's going to be currently, I would say, 3 teams and a half. You got ATL Magicians are a little bit split all over the riverside. But regardless, we're going to have this plane coming on through. A lot of teams over to the east and so much room up northwest. I would love to see some teams maybe see this as a great opportunity to move quickly in circle and finish your looting there. I truly think that would be a great thing to do because purely based off of the plane path, that the odds of teams being up north or over to the west are super slim. So if you want to get a great central position early on, I would even rotate now. I would pick up a car, pick up some good tier 1, tier 2 loot if possible, go straight in there and finish your looting in Gatka Fields or potentially close to Pachinki. That's what I would do personally, but intrigued to see if teams will maybe get to that conclusion and do so.
Yeah, this is where you look at teams that might be a bit... Some early shots going to be fired off. I like the reaction from Beast there. So, was that the Yonkers? Yeah, it looked like they were the ones that drove by. I'm seeing a bit of a pixelator trying to read the words, and they've driven back. Are you going to... What are we doing now?
They're hungry. They want it.
I like this. Yeah, they're smelling blood and they're thinking, maybe you don't have weapons. Maybe we just charge you down and we'll blow you up early. That'd be a huge loss for Yonkers, but they have picked up at least 3 out of their 4 members in here. It's only Brennergod who is yet to be found. And again, look at this. Fallen 5. They always seem to be close to someone no matter how this goes down. They're always having a little poke and a peek that might get into an early fight here. And at least they're well aware of it for now.
Yeah, they're going to be cautious. Hopefully, Fallen 5 are going to be a little bit careful of how they decide to engage this one because, once again, this is a team that keeps on spawning just like 777 with only a 3-man team. So I'm just hoping that they're going to be respectful about this one. They are going to be really close to another team nearby, so I hope they're going to get it into them to not take that fight versus Alpha Pack that just went off a high on that last game of Miramar. They took themselves their very first chicken dinner throughout the entire event. So hopefully more games to come like that for them. They definitely showed up, especially also able to close off that game in really big style. But now... going to ship on over to Lipovka, over to the eastern edge, and that's going to be 2 teams over here. It's going to be Your Killer Is, also joined up by Aphelion APX, but they are pretty spread away from each other, especially when you're looking at it. Aphelion APX, they're all surrounding the players of Your Killer Is, but they got to be very cautious because every angle could be your doom. So they're going to be very cautious of where they decide to position. Oh, that looks good.
Yeah. Over it goes. Dog moves. Oh, close, but went over the wall by the looks of it. Renegade actually got finished off, as we can see on the kill feed here. So that's less than ideal for him. He wasn't able to get back with his teammates in time. And that's going to be a problem. Zipdog goes back to his same position. Oh, Jairbot, no, he's also been taken out on low health. PN really did take the fight to him, didn't they? They chased him down on that buggy.
Oh my God.
Chapo needs to be careful. Jairbot, he's very good in these duels, but he's not good enough to take down 2 this time around. A slight battle in there, and it does pay off for the PN boys. I'm just impressed. They went on the hunt so early on, didn't they? They went for that fight. They saw them driving, and it was funny because Yonkers drove at them, right? And they said, oh, we're going to ride at you. And then afterwards, they were like, nope, you know what? We're going to turn around and chase you around, and we're going to try and take you down.
Overall, I don't fully disagree with that. I think that normally I would usually say that is not a great. I know I might keep that thought for a little bit as they're getting really close over here. And they both got these 2 teams, and the shots will indeed get exchanged.
And these shots are being exchanged not in the favor of AE. They're going to sit back for now. Cold is down, limping alongside Rusty Boy. Blueston, he's hoping he'll have the time to get the revive off, but Zipdog, he's got other ideas about it all. Cage, where is he at this position? Okay, he's not too far away behind the wall, behind the containers. There we go. But he's kind of pinned down as well. Method's got his number. It's the timing on this. He's going to be overwhelmed. He's going to be run down. Zipdog trying to get the finish off, and he does start with 1. There's another player just desperately trying to hide. They're going to try and pull off the revive at the same time, as Cage might be able to provide some cover fire at least. Zipdog, he's a bit cautious because he doesn't have the best health. And no, they don't go at the same time, so they've allowed a chance here for AE to fight back into it. And Zipdog, that was your time to strike. If they pull off the revive, you could be in for a world of hurt here. Zipdog pushing on forward. He hears it, and he didn't have much health. Beautiful work here from AE. They're playing it smart. Method's into the fight as well, and he certainly needs to be careful, but they're getting the finish-offs in as well. YKI, they've lost Fantasy. The other 2, they're down, ready to be revived. But Method, he has no idea where Cage is. Maybe he starts to hear it now. Now he's got the information. He knows what's up, and he knows what could be going down. But with only the Mac in hand, is it even going to be enough? Oh! Close range, Cage, Cronin, Cage, maybe tempting fate here. He will be going down in the end. They put up a good fight. A few wrong decisions from YKI made this into a position that it was that scary for them. They may have not lost Fantasy if they communicated a bit better there, I'll be honest, Max.
That was a really long fight, I have to say, Lipovka. That took ages to close off. That was an entire 1-minute fight. But you know what? At the end of the day, the off angles of your killer ears are going to be rewarding them with an extra 4 kills. Sure, Fantasy got taken down initially, but they were the team that initially in that fight were in a lot of trouble because they were surrounded from like every corner in that position by players of Aphelion APX, and yet they were able to deal with it properly and lose only 1 player throughout a fight that I thought initially they were going to lose. That is still a big win. So congratulations, and for that, Aphelion APX will be out of the lobby in 15th position, and only 50 players are now alive. But now, I could finally go back to the point I was going to say initially, without a doubt. I feel like it was years ago. But the point I had was Pain, and you said like, oh, you thought it was a little bit weird why Pain were actually chasing the frags early on. I think that's great, and normally I would say that is not a good thing, but the reason why I think this is great for Pain is because they're currently in 18th position. They need to get as many points as possible because it's do or die for them. They're in a position that if they can get those extra 1-2 kills like it happened there, that could make the difference between them qualifying for the finals or not making it there whatsoever. So I think that overall, they took a risk, sure, but the risk paid off in the sense that they picked up an extra 2 points and they're still in the game and made it easier for them to maybe close off the game as they took down one of the top teams that we had so far in these games. So I think the overall Pain, if that was their thought process at least, I think it makes a lot of sense, and I think that they deserve respect for that decision-making alone because they did take a risk, and it paid off. So when you take a risk and it works out, I got to say, hey, hats off to you. It worked out as you planned. But Gun, what did not work out as planned is Slim got taken down really early on by a player of Existence, and Existence are feeling so confident today, taking teams even up against Gun. This is great.
It certainly is great. Not so great for Gun, though, because Slim, he's been putting in the work for these guys. We've been impressed with what we've seen from him so far. And we'll see them on the back foot quite early on in a game like this. Definitely going to keep my eye on Existence to see what they can do. Like you said, they're willing to take the fights. They're finding their form and their confidence again. There's this next circle where we're going to go. We're going to go back to normality in a game of a wrangle.
Yeah.
Pretty much so. We're up towards the middle side, slightly over towards the western side. And for the Magicians, they continue to be in a nice spot here, right? Starting in Primorsk, they're just working their way now around Quarry, but they're actually in a position where the west side is very open for them. Look how contested it's going to be in the north, south, and east parts here. So many teams remaining that, okay, there's enough distance. It's a big map for sure. But especially down the south side, you've got to keep an eye out for how it might go down, how bad it may get.
Yeah. This is what we were talking about during the playing path. We said there is one easy thing to do. Pick up the car Leon and go straight to the west because you know no one's going to be there. The only team that did that was ATL Magicians, and they are just going to have the most laid back early to mid-game stage of this entire game because they're not going to get contested. They're not going to count any teams. And there's so many little high ground hilltops, little nick and crannies, and also small buildings and compounds to hold on to that they are never going to have any issues. And if the circle shifts heavily up west, they're going to have the high ground positions that KHK had yesterday. And that spot is just so great to see. But Existence, over to them. Mentioned that a good fight earlier was Gun, picked up 1 kill. But Existence, they are going to go for a pretty big fight. Aero, that was a weird position to be in to take the shots. But you know what? He did it regardless. Going to make it back with his team. But Team BBC, finally, we said we wanted to talk more about the squad. And Valak, 1 wheel popped. He's going to make it slowly to Gun.
He goes, it's better than walking. I'm saving my legs, you know. I'll take my chances. I'll give it as good a go as I can. Now, Zodiac has obviously been in a little bit of a fight here. Exist are looking up towards the hills in front of them. And it's C. One thing that's impressed me with C, they're in a good position overall in the rankings right now. They are willing to take fights. They are willing to go into battles no matter where they're sat around the map. I feel like every time we come to them, they've been in a position which is respectable and something you can work from. But they've also been in a good spot where they can take some of the kills. And, ooh, Zipdog just went down to the play zone. Didn't expect that. What is going on for your killer is today?
I know that because we did see on the circle when it did pop for a few seconds on going into phase 2, they were still in Lipovka, so that shows that here they're rotating extremely slow. And I think they're just being cautious because of the plane path being so far southeast. They're like, there might be a lot of teams in front of us. We might try and tick down to the blue if that's the decision making what it's based around. I think that makes a lot of sense, but you don't want to delay it too much or you might be losing a lot of resources. But it's only a knock into the blue zone. He could get rezzed up unless it was a kill confirm, which I'm not sure if that was the case. If it's just a knock, it's still phase 2. You can easily get the res. You should be in a still okay position. And also because car spawns in the Pubg not too bad. So I'm still expecting him to make in circle at least.
We certainly hope so for these guys' sake. The slime is on the screen right now. And they're going to take some more shots at the passing by cars. Oof, trying to hold on to it. Trying to keep up with it all. AP can't catch a break. They go from slime shooting them to Eraser shooting at them. Everyone wants a piece of these guys. And that's what happens when you're the king of the hill. You get the advantage position to try and fight from. No
break for the strong, unfortunately for them, but we have this position of Pachinki Hill on top of the, almost dead center of the circle. He's just a little bit off over to the east. Overall, this is great for just scouting purposes, see exactly where you want to try and go to, and this is going to be great depending on where the circle goes. It's about to shift. We should be having a somewhat normal circle, hopefully. Okay, maybe not, and maybe I'll have to take that one back. We still have a lot of water in play in this one down south. The Team UNK already crossed on over, which is not the case of Yonkus. And Yonkus, this is not a drop location in which they are truly experienced. They do not drop there usually. They like to play around Hospital, which is where they dominated on Game 1 today. So intrigued to see. But Gun, just like Game 1 also, going straight into the compound that rewarded them was the first win of the day that kicked off their back-to-back chicken dinner spree. They're going to get contested by none other than Team BBC. And Team BBC kick it off into gear, taking down Nerf Me. That is huge. They put them down to a 2-man team.
Straight in for the kill as well. BBC wanting those points. Now they'll get back into the compound and find themselves some cover to fight from. But that's a good start. Now you've got a more than large advantage with it. Plaza is hoping they might make a bit of a mistake here. Takes a few pop shots towards Aimless, but it's Aimless who battles back against him. You've got to be careful, my friend, because BBC are willing to take the fight against you this time. And Plaza, he's just running, trying to escape for his life.
think the Team BBC were hearing us during the breaks and, oh, they want to see us more. Okay, well, we'll show them. We'll show them. And you know what? Hey, fair enough. I'm happy if you guys show up to the occasion here. Especially since our Aimless has been able to play a few of these games with Sook also. I think that these two players have been able to do some really good plays when it comes down to it. But into the late game stage, that's where they tend to struggle from time to time. So hopefully they'll be good to go. But they're being still really respectful. Despite being a 4-man team, they know that this compound is really hard for a simple reason. It's not really one compound. It's like two small compounds really, really close to each other. So there's no easy way to just roll on over or just drive over there or even walk over there. And if you want to use smokes to make it over there, that's going to be basically all your utility gone. And you want to keep that for the late game. So I respect the fact that here Team BBC, despite knowing for a fact that they got that man advantage, they're not going to cross over, because going from where they are to make it to where Gun is currently is quite a little bit of an adventure. And it can be a little bit hard if you don't have the utility to back it up. So overall, I think that Team BBC just not being overzealous is a really good showcase of their mindset coming in this 4th and final game for today.
Now from this position, we can still see that Slime right on the edge of the circle now, just trying to use it to their advantage to scope on in, see what they might be able to find. Only 1 kill so far, but it's still early game. We're just about coming in towards the 15-minute mark. It's the Magicians that are just further down in front of them. And they're being cautious because they know they don't want to lose these vital points on a game like this. We spoke about it already. They've not grabbed all the points they would have wanted here today. They've had some chances with it. They've had some fights, but it's not been enough to push them high enough where they can feel comfortable. It's all about grabbing as many as you can for now and seeing what you can get done. Is this next circle? Are you serious? Are we getting like an almost repeat? This is almost exactly like the previous one. It's like a wrangle ×2. Are we just watching a repeat of the previous game?
We had like 15% water, and now it's turned into 50% water. Okay. Things are going to get... I think the interesting would be a suiting word for this kind of situation. BBC and Gun, they're super happy about that one. And for once, also, Magicians are actually going to have to move for their position. So they're going to be in quite a lot of trouble, especially when so many teams are in front of them. But one team that's going to be jumping straight to the Gun. That is going to be, of course, the side of Alpha Pack. They're already going to be moving on forward, trying to get themselves in a good position. And they're just going to be moving on by. Team BBC, they want nothing to do with these guys.
BBC, they're willing to just take all the fights right now. They're in a good position to do so. Okay, they're only about 1 kill for
Everyone's
now, but they're
roaming.
still 4 alive. And that's it, yeah. They're sending it. They're being cautious, and I understand why. But we're going to see a lot of teams struggle to find space within this wild circle. If you're a solo player or just a couple of players left, maybe just sit in the water for a while, you know? Just wait. Go for a little swim, cool off for a bit, and watch all the madness unfold. Because I wouldn't want to go onto it.
I think nobody would. That is a treacherous one for sure. Things are going just a little bit slow now, waiting for the next wave of teams to slow up and show up into the circle. Magicians, they're going to have 1 player. He's there on his own. Vortex going to maybe try and find a little nest for his team to nestle into. But he's going to make his way very close to Gun also. But Team BBC, here you go. The full-on crush will be happening. And what? Magicians just cruising through? Not even taking a fight.
They're going straight in for the fight, but they might be straight into their deaths because it's not just one team in BBC they're fighting. Erasers are there as well, and they're picking up the pieces. Aimless providing more and more fire straight in with the kills, and that is Magicians down and out of it. They tried, and they failed miserably. That's the only way I can put it, Max.
I fully agree with that one. Magicians, unfortunately, this is what happens when I have to go. Oh, there you go. There you go. He's still alive. Going to see if he can do a clutch play like we saw earlier on Miramar. But regardless, that was a desperate call, a desperate play. They were like, we have no other opportunities. We're really far away from the circle. The best way for us to just give it a shot. We have no information. Let's try and go straight into the center circle in the compound. If we win the fight, we take the position. If we lose it, we die. And that was unfortunately for them. 3 players out of the equation really early on. So you know what? Sometimes a little bit of a gamble should happen. But that is looking pretty scary. Also, because when we're looking at Magicians, looking for their position currently in the standings, where are they standing so far? ATL Magicians are in 11th position. So they're looking pretty good, but because of this big L they just took in this fight versus Team BBC, it is putting their top 16 position at risk. Making it into their final 4 games in the next 2 days, they could be in a position where they might get kicked down in the bottom 16 and not even make it to the finals. So these are risks that, at this stage, should not be great to go for, but they gave it a shot and it didn't pay off.
You saw NASA Boy and UNK's position here is really strong. Two different teams he can have a look at. He's taking shots into the smokes to see what he might be able to find. UNK are taking down the boat boys for now. And it doesn't look like they're going to be done anytime soon. More shots continue to be fired off. And it's also Slime having a few shots on them at the same time. Poor Boat cannot catch a break. They get close. They get a little bit further. And then, oh no, it all falls apart. It doesn't start to look good. I feel sorry for him, man. New circle, though. And okay, we've got away from the water. Nicely done. But still, there's not a lot for these guys to work with here. Teams coming in from the north as well are going to have a very difficult time. Gun have found themselves in an okay position, but is that only one player left alive on the map?
I think that is actually
on top of each other. I think that's just one. They've had an incredible day anyway. You can't take that away from them, but I was really hoping for, you know, the triple chicken dinners.
That could have been big. They could have done something very similar to what Undisputed did yesterday, actually. They got really close to it. Existence, though, they made it over, and the game contested, so hard by Alpha Pack. And Reckless, he took some full damage. I thought he was going to get knocked by that, but you know what? He makes it down. And this is a play that's okay. If you knew for a fact you're losing these fights on the cliffside, just drop down. You still got some water, and sure, you're not going to be aiming for the chicken dinner here, but you will be getting some good positioning points from it all alone by just being and aiming on your survivability. So I think that overall, sending one player down there is not that bad of an idea because you are somewhat securing a minimum of points for yourself.
And that's what it's all about. Getting what you need.
Oh, no.
Any point in a bad situation is ideal, but Slime, no, we just start to see him on the kill feed go down. BBC are still fighting and getting some good kills in there. Vex is able to fight back a little bit. This is all happening on the other part of the map. As we look at Clutch, who's just chilling, hoping he might be able to find one of the YKI players out here. But look how heavily contested this area is. Slime, Eraser, UNK, all of them so close by. One wrong move and you're going down. They are desperate for a bit of compound success here. And Ghost is desperate to make a nade work. He's trying to make it launch off as a nade comes out just past him. Doesn't quite take him down, but he has been heavily taking damage.
I've been hyping up Mohammed and also NASA Boy, the deadly duo, see if they can do it. As one of their players gets knocked away and actually gets mollied up by one player of Eraser. This Eraser crew is going to be off to an extra kill, so overall, they're all again scared of the utility coming out. They got to go for the push eventually, as Eraser crew, they're staying on their forward, but Team UNK can find a first opening frag for the side of Mohammed.
And it looks like Slime only have Fex, who is still on his feet.
Wait, ooh.
Ooh, long nade up. NASA Boy, I like it. Ooh.
Oh.
He's trying to avoid nades and also throw nades up. I like the attempt. Make it up, I like the style. Yeah, that's too steep a hill to climb up. I think he has to swim all the way around on the other side because you don't want to take 5 damage from where he is. Oh, and that new sir. Poor guy. He cannot catch a break. Vile on Gun is still able to do some damage though, and he is the only player left of Gun. And just as I say that, he goes down. He took a shot, he got a knock, and then he gets put down himself. Riot and UNK, they're up at 5 kills for now. Only 3 players remaining, and Mohammed's on his feet.
Wait. Thanks. Wait a second. This actually might be 2 back-to-back chicken dinners. 1 for Gun and actually 1 for Alpha Pack. They got the circle right on top of them.
Oh.
This could be huge, but Eraser crew, they're pushing on forward. But again, the Molly's making sure they can't peek through the windows. This is super good usage of utility. As Riot in a position solo 1v4. This is going to be such a hard fight. Let's see if he can take it.
Oh, they should be in a good spot to take it. They're heavily outnumbered and outgunned, and they get overrun. And NASA Boy, well, he's far away from the fight. There's nothing he can do to help him out. And Eraser, they find themselves against the blue, but they'll be able to push on in from here. And they might be able to bypass some of the other teams coming into it. Slime, they still get 3 alive despite the amount of knocks there. This is really good from them. They want to challenge BBC. They push from down, and then they push on into the compound and force BBC to run out the other way. Plenty of nades going out towards them. And BBC, this is where they have to be careful because they don't know the new ground they're running into. You change compound, and you have to check around you. Where are the other teams lying for now? Where do they sit? What can they do against you?
They're truly rushing into the unknown. They have no idea what kind of threats are lingering in the shadows, but the grenades are so close yet so far. Nothing able to connect, but yes, Slime could definitely be a team to be kind of upsetting our expectations of this game. That would be great if they're able to snatch away their very first game, but at the end of the day. Eraser Crew getting such a good position. They got these little rocks that are good for just peek and shooting over them, but they still create himself a good angle on their sides that BBC could be able to capitalize onto. But I think BBC, they're full currently as they are fully focused on Slime, making sure that they don't make it out alive from this compound. But we'll see if Slime can make it happen, as here you go, Aimless. Going for the shots, but Storm coming into the kill feed once again. That feels good.
Fantastic cover for them to find here. This is what they've got to play off. This is the way you do it, right? You take the shots, you jump on down. Oh, Implus, you stood there too long. I know you wanted the kills, but it's the BBC. They are watching you. All eyes on you, and they put you down. Now, the revive, it is possible, but they've got to be careful. Nihao, he's looking for it. And I love this cheeky position. Just prone. He's got so much information off this that he can play from.
It's so hard to spot him there, too. You just can't do anything from it. Sook's going to get spotted on the side, and that's going to be Fex. Once again, and they're stealing this game, potentially eliminate Team BBC. They were supposed to gatekeep them, and they get 9 kills out of absolutely nowhere. But the circle moves once again right in the palm of the hands of Alpha Pack. They are waiting, and here you're looking at the side of Slime. They've got to make it through that entire open field. That is such a hard rotation for Slime to pull off.
But it's already been a hard rotation for them, and they've done it. This is admirable, to say the least. We said they needed a big game coming out here. Well, they're getting it done so far. AP, they may have the position, but they don't have the kills just yet. And soon enough, they're going to have to be taking more fights towards them from every single side. They will have teams on their left, right, and straight in front of them. And that's where they have to be very careful from here. Eraser, have they jumped on down? Oh. You sly guys. Look where they've put themselves. This is either like a really positive or really negative. When I see this, I usually see it where it's like one player does it and the rest stay up and still fight for it, because you're going to limit yourself on the kills you'll be able to grab, but you may be able to just sit in the zone and camp your way to success potentially. Storm, though, sneaky snaking his way on forward. They're going to have shots fired back out towards them. And AP, they're doing a lot of damage. Yumi pops up, but instantly he gets dropped after getting one. The nades are going up from Storm, and he's looking to try and find some success. They're flying out far, and it's going to at least push AP back a little bit, but they've got the perfect cover behind the rocks. Wazza wants to come in and try and finish some of them off. The spray downs continue to go further forward, and I think that's only Storm alive now.
Yeah. It's going to be just Storm. Let's see if he can maybe close off this game and make up for that Miramar game just 2 days ago. That will be huge storyline for the guy himself, the IGL of the team, and also one of the top fraggers for them at that. But the fact is, they were able to survive for so long. Reason why? Because all of these teams, CE Sports, was also Alpha Pack, they also focus on cancelling out each other. They're just somewhat forgetting about Slime, and they were able to get so dangerously close to, they might be able to just barely steal away this game. Yumi, again, though, talking about barely get back up on his feet by Ellie. They're going to be there as a 2-man squad. Hopefully, with still 6 kills coming their way. Really, I got to say that CE Sports in these last 3 games have really come together as a team with some really good shot calling in general. The blue zone is just on top of them. It's going to engulf them. They need to move forward.
And this is where I'm so confused for Eraser. Like, how do you try and make this work to your advantage? Storm is sneaky snaking it as far as possible. AP are under heavy fire. And Eraser are just playing off the side of the rocks, and Ellie's gone down into the water as well. This is, oh no! They're all playing the long game right now. You may think this is a bit of cheese, but you got to grab those points, boys. Yumi doesn't have much health. He's going to bandage up as much as possible, and it's all about staying alive. A lot of nades have probably been used, but it's Eraser. They're trying to get AP out of there. Abel gets knocked down. There could be a timing if Storm knew about this to push on forward. They've had 11 kills already. They've got a top 4 placement. And look how far he's got. This is genius. Storm, he hears what's going on. He's now made some noise himself, though. Abel should be able to hear him, but he is a precision aimer. And look how many bullets he's going to have in the gun. He might be able to just spray him down. Another nade goes up, and Storm, this could be your time. He doesn't know about it just yet. He's being cautious. Eraser able to cause an absolute nuisance here for AP.
The circle's going to go dead center. It's going to go back to the mainland, to the high ground. He just has to stay here and make sure he's actually stealing the game away. One-man team army, despite all his team getting eliminated in the open grounds. He might be able to, he's literally, the only thing Storm has to do is not move. If he does not move, he takes the win. But Yumi's got a perfect off angle onto Eraser Crew. This is huge for CE Sports potentially.
Yeah, be some nice additional kills for C. Yumi, he jumps out into it. He takes the shot.
Yes,
He's spraying them down. One more to find. Yumi has health, but he needs to be careful of the blue. He's also being shot at, and Erasers will eventually finish him off. A Storm, he's sitting pretty, and he seems to want to still take some of these fights. He wants to find some ground and get some additional kills. He spots Reyes down at the bottom. He's taking some shots. He's putting them all an end to it. Storm, you absolute madman. He's doing it. Abel goes down as well. 14 kills. Make that 15, and Storm is an absolute genius of how he's played this out.
I have no words. I have no words. This is the biggest breakthrough I've ever seen. He just stole that game like an absolute mad lad. And there's nothing he can do because the circles come in his favor. They're gonna die to the blue zone. He just has to chill. He can literally just put his phone to the side on his bed and relax. But you know what? He wants an extra kill to look extra cool. And I do not know. This guy's insane.
Oh, he's taking the risk, Storm. You incredible beast. 16 kills and a win when he was snaking his way across the grass. You thought they were done for. We said Slime needed a big game. Well, Mamba is screaming and cheering right now watching this because that was absolutely big brain. That was huge. Storm, you deserve a big pat on the back because your team needed some points and you grabbed them all.
We were a little bit scared for him. He was almost able to clutch a game on Miramar just 2 days ago. He was not able to do so. Here you go. That is one hell of a storyline coming on through from Storm for the side of Slime 4KT. This guy is legendary when it comes down to African PMCO. And coming into it, I truly believe that Eraser Crew just forgot about Storm entirely. They're like, we're just going to take that fight. And if we kill all the teams down below, we win. They're like, wait a second, there's still someone up there. And that was the side of Slime, with Storm just barely remaining alive and able to make it on through. So unfortunately, it just seems like Eraser Crew forgot about him and allowed them to take that win. So that was somewhat of a throw. Still really good game from Eraser Crew regardless throughout that entire game until the finishing moments. And Alpha Pack 2, they took a chicken dinner, and then a top 3 position was an extra 5 kills. That is also a big step up from this team. So overall, I'm super happy to see all these teams definitely showing up to the occasion. But once more, you just have to say, Storm, I'm sure our producer was looking at my face during my casting of that last session. I was in awe. I did not know what to say. That was, he just stole it. I don't know. I'm just going to stop speaking because I'm just rambling about how insane that was.
Max, that is impressive. Oh my God, Slime got 6th place off the back of that. That's why it was so huge. They went from, what was it, 15th? 15th to 6th. Oh my God. And they've now got 89. We said that's like the safe number. We spoke about this from so long, saying they needed to make a big play and they need to make a huge move here. I nearly just knocked my headset off as I had my hands on my head because I'm just like, wow, what is going on? Oh, this is impressive, mate.
Not only that, C Esports. I'm going to actually check real quick where they were at the start of today, because I believe they were actually in a pretty low ranking, because let me check that real quick. C Esports before today were actually standing in 17th position, and now they climbed up. They're currently in 9th position, and they're getting really close to that around 85-point bubble that I did mention, that is 100% sure going to be you basically qualifying for the finals, and they're almost there. They just need an extra 8 points, and they should be making it up to that position to be somewhat safe. Same for Yonku's also. There's so many big shifts, and also Eraser Crew, that game alone allowed them to just springbolt themselves up in top 16, currently 14th position, was a juicy amount of point at that also. And Alpha Pack 2, they took a win and a top 3 back-to-back. That is another big shown from these teams, and in this final game, we were expecting that, and you brought that up perfectly well. You hit the nail on the head here, Banks, saying that we were going to have so many big changes after these 4 games today. And that's exactly what happened. So many teams that we thought initially were struggling just risen up to the occasion and made it now into the top 16. But it's not over just yet. You still got 4 games for all of these teams to play. But still, it is still a really good impression. And overall, it shows that they have the potential to make into the finals and fight for themselves.
And when we're talking about that, right, the final 2 days now get so much more interesting because, okay, top 4, you've pretty much made it. I'm almost guaranteed. Obviously, the changing in positions can certainly happen. There's still a big fight for everyone else on how this could go down, because it's very close. If you think of 60 to 60 to 80 points, right? That's still all in contention of how up and down this can be. If we go on to page 2, we'll see how close the rest of them are going to be as well. And that's it. Look, so realistically, I would say if you're at 50 right now, you still have a great chance of it. And even BBC, they jumped up a fair amount of that game, and we were very impressed with what they delivered, especially on this last Erangel game.
But we've seen teams do 50 points in one day. It is really possible. So even if you're like in the bottom sides, if you get a really big day, it's still possible to do that comeback and make that huge story happen. But unfortunately, the odds of that happening, if you're not able to perform in 8 games entirely and without getting any good results, it is, in my eyes, making it show that you're maybe a team that is not fully prepared for this. So at the end of the day, it's still, for a lot of these teams, their very first competitive experience, so we do have to keep that in mind at least. But teams like Spaza 6, Existence also really caught up pretty nicely. Pain also, mainly also off the back of that Miramar game, are getting in a really close spot, but it's still going to be stressed out because at the end, it is an esports tournament and not every team are going to make it out. After the next 2 days, 50% of the teams are going to go out. 16 teams, that is, are going to be having to go back home. Well, they're already going to be at home because they're playing online, but regardless, back to their room, I guess we'll say back to their room. And they'll come back for the next season, hopefully. I'd love to see a lot of these teams because I think that everyone, if you made it in PMCO, that alone is a big achievement because you got thousands upon thousands of teams signing up for these kind of events, and you're part of the top 32 of those teams. So that alone is a big achievement, but maybe not fully prepared for the next step. So even if you do not make it in the next 2 days, hey, come back next season. We've still got so many opportunities at hand. Exactly. It is not over for you, my friend.
Certainly good advice there as well. And like, just getting to cover the African region, we didn't know what we were going to see. First of all, the whole African community has been super supportive of us guys, tweeting at us, like the comments in chat and stuff. Mamba, the manager of Slime 4KT, has been helping us with getting the extra research. But I can honestly say with my hand on my heart that this has impressed me. We've seen some great plays, some very interesting team decisions. We've seen very good rotations for multiple teams that can get now back-to-back chicken dinners we saw today. It has been fantastic. And still with 2 more days, nothing is fully confirmed. Like we know, okay, yes, the top 4 teams right now, the ones over 100 points, you're probably all the way through, maybe even the top 6. But like, there's still a lot to fight for. There's still a lot of placements. And we're going to be going right down to the wire on all of this, Max. And I think that is crazy. I'd actually say for some of these players, especially Storm, he was definitely born to win, like the Renault 5G, right? That's what we've got to look at because that's the coming Oppo Renault 5 series, and it's the official designated smartphone of PUBG Mobile for the Middle East and African region in 2021. Equipped with excellent hardware and software for gaming, this device should always be your lift to the upgraded fun and enjoyment in the battlefield. And we had enjoyment and fun from Storm, and I still can't believe he pulled it off, Max, because if that was me or you, Max, let's be honest for a second. What would we do? We would probably play it safe and not go for the kills. He went so confidently for the kills.
He was just so confident in general. But I think that overall, I think that anyone in that situation would have done the same because I don't... Okay, don't get me wrong because people are not going to like this. I still think he did really good, okay? But I still think it was a mistake coming out from a Racer crew to give up that high ground position. They had overall the rocks, they could have easily picked from that position. And any normal person in that situation would be like scouring the positions and the cliffs are like, where are the enemies? There's literally no one. Well, I'm going to run there and go center circle. And the moment he was there, he was looking down below. Literally everyone was down in the cliff. And I think teams for a second forgot they were playing PUBG Mobile. They thought they were playing like rock climbing simulator or something. And unfortunately, that's not how you play the game. So hopefully, you know, coming into this, teams will be like, okay, we're not going to have that happen. That's 2 throws in a similar fashion, by the way. We had Racer crew in that one and also new team in that Miramar game. So hey, it seemed like... African region and cliffs, they're not good friends. They don't like it.
Cliffs are not your friends. Even if you think you're a rock climber, it's very hard to do when it comes to PUBG. That's what we know from start to finish. But Max, I'm just surprised we have 2 days left and it's got this close because I was looking down at some of these teams and thinking, it's looking rough. Like you're not going to be able to catch up. But today has shown us that it is possible. Like Slime's whole day did not look great. And then this last game, bang, they just slapped around and said, okay, we're going to wake up. And then for Gun, they've been probably the most consistent team of the day. They definitely deserve that. But I'm going to give my MVP of the day. I'm just going to start doing this randomly to Storm because that was the play of the day.
I wouldn't say he's so far the player of the tournament. He's one up there. You'll see if you want to get another one. I would say I think that Darkness is the best sniper of the game so far. So we got many different MVP prizes. We'll give away throughout the entirety of this event. But I fully agree that I think that Storm has been doing just so much for his team. They've been there some times where Slime has been a little bit absent. So I think that now they can work on being more of a regular team instead of having those big pop-offs. But the good thing is you have 2 different ways of playing this. Or your team that gets consistent throughout the entirety of the event and you get good points and you make it top 16, yada, 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 all good, set and done. Another way of doing so is by having some bad games. Sure, that happens. It sucks. No one likes to have bad games, but it happens. But when you get a good game, you get a real good game. I'm talking like Influence, Rage Africa kind of good game. 20 kills plus a chicken din on top of that. And seems like Slime, that is somewhat their playstyle. They are given an opportunity to take the win, and they take it, but they don't always get to that point. And that's where they make up for those bad games, by having games where they get an insane amount of kills, which is why Slime, once again, were playing so aggressive in those final moments. They're like, okay, now we actually got a good position. Now we can frag out, take down BBC, take down Eraser. And once they took down all the teams, not only did they take the win, they get an insane amount of kills on top of that to be able to climb back up. And you mentioned it, to make it in one single game from 15th to 6th position. That is mental. That is huge.
Absolutely huge. And I gotta go on to not a negative, but something we messed up on, Max. Luckily, Mamba's there to correct us all the way. Yumi is actually a girl. I'm sorry, we didn't know. I definitely said he during that because I thought it was he. It's hard to see on the models. So Yumi, I apologize. You are a woman playing the game. That is completely fine. I will make sure we correct that when we're covering you on the next ones. But we are done and dusted for another day. It has been a hell of a lot of fun. I just want to say from both me and Max, thank you so much for all of you guys for watching and joining us along the way. This African esports scene in PUBG Mobile is looking strong and the games have been fantastic. And that's why you best be back with us tomorrow to watch more of the action at the same time as always, because it is only going to get better from here. We're going right to the wire, and it's the last time for some of these teams to make the final points they need. We'll see you later.